yet it's regarded as hell itself by every troubled youth in the nation. Here, whether you were once a gang boss who ruled your territory, or a well-connected child of bureaucrats, once you arrive, your identity becomes nothing more than a complete animal. Not only do they undergo non-stop, all-day, high-intensity physical punishment training, they're not even allowed the most basic human speech or human food. They can only make pig sounds and enjoy pig meals. And based on the severity of their crime type, each troubled youth gets a different letter grade marked on their chest. The higher the letter grade, the more intense the reformation required. And the reformation period lasts until they're deemed completely reformed. Just like Zhao Chang-su, the youth gang leader who once terrified even the police. He was only considered fully reformed after becoming mentally disabled, unable to control his bowels. All because the Youth Protection Act existed, causing Country H's youth crime rate to spiral out of control. Not only did teachers who tried to guide them down the right path become targets of violence, but even when they injured or killed someone, they felt no guilt whatsoever, because they knew that with the Youth Protection Act, they would never be punished no matter what. This led to an era where no adults dared to correct children's mistakes. Fearing retaliation, adults didn't dare stand up, becoming cautious around children. But all this changed after Han Man-soo was elected president. He abolished the Youth Protection Act and enacted a new law called the Special Reformation Act. Lenient punishment became a thing of the past. If they committed crimes, they would receive reformation training. Only after being deemed completely reformed would they rejoin society as individuals. In short, if words don't work, concentrated discipline becomes the only solution. But strangely, today these youths are voluntarily lining up at the playground to donate blood. The adults watching think they've changed for the better. But in reality, their purpose is simply to get a blood donation certificate. Because one certificate can be exchanged for 5,000 currency at Lee Min-soo's place. And the first thing they do after getting the certificate is come to Lee Min-soo to exchange it for money. This is the business our protagonist Lee Min-soo is currently running, buying a 5,000 gift card and one blood donation certificate for 10,000. However, his purpose is only for those certificates. Since each one has an implicit value of about 12,000, he profits by acting as a middleman, earning the price difference. He clearly knows this is criminal behavior, yet he's not afraid at all, because for a minor like him, the worst case scenario is just receiving a warning letter. The real danger is watching out for other delinquent youths, and Lee Min-soo, who was happily counting money, suddenly gets kicked in the face. Both he and the cardboard box fly several meters away. Several delinquents approach Lee Min-soo, saying he seems to have made quite a bit of money lately. Lee Min-soo looks at these delinquents and curses, damn, his worst fear has come true. These delinquents surrounding him scoff at the newly enacted law, thinking reformation is a load of crap. At this moment, the blonde leader continuously sprays several foul-smelling yellow smoke bombs, and Lee Min-soo is pinned under him, enduring this stinking humiliation. The blonde asks him, "Don't you know to share money with others? Or are you only so bold because Chang-soo went to the correctional facility?" With that, he spits on Lee Min-soo's face. Humiliated, Lee Min-soo trembles with rage and shouts that without Zhao Chang-soo, he's just a worthless loser. The blonde says he certainly knows Chang-soo is 100 times more terrifying than him, but coincidentally, Chang-soo is getting out today. Hearing this, Lee Min-soo's pupils instantly contract. Zhao Chang-soo is the leader of the regional youth crime gang. Everyone he ever hurt suffered terrible torture, but no one dares call themselves a victim because they all fear revenge from this demon. Lee Min-soo is no exception. Just his fierce face is enough to make him tremble all over. Seeing the frightened Lee Min-soo, the blonde gets to the point. If he doesn't want to provoke Chang-soo's bad temper, he'd better hand over the money. Hearing this, Lee Min-soo fumbles in his backpack while saying no problem. But the next second, he pulls out a middle finger toward these delinquents. Seeing this, the blonde is instantly enraged, cursing him as a son of a bitch. A knee strike hits Lee Min-soo hard in the abdomen. Then comes a beating with him pinned to the ground. With Chang-soo gone, you think no one can control you? Do you really think I'm a pushover? Still not satisfied, the blonde's eyes catch sight of a shovel placed nearby. Today, he's determined to teach Lee Min-soo a harsh lesson. A delinquent beside him reminds him to calm down. If things get out of control, he'll be sent to the correctional facility. The blonde claims he's not afraid of places like the correctional facility. He thinks as long as he acts tough, he can get out anytime. Right now, he just wants to beat Lee Min-soo until he pisses himself. But just as the blonde is about to strike, his back receives a fierce kick. The student council president who appears, Kang Wook-sung, says campus violence is prohibited here. After speaking, he helps up Lee Min-soo from the ground. The surrounding delinquents recognize his identity. At this moment, the repeatedly beaten blonde doesn't care anymore. He grabs the shovel and charges at Kang Wook-sung. "Today, I'm going to kill you both, then transfer schools." After dodging the shovel, Kang Wook-sung questions whether the blonde really wants to kill him. Then one hand grabs the blonde's shoulder. With an over-the-shoulder throw, he slams him hard to the ground. "Do you think you can bear the consequences of murder?" Seeing he's no match, the blonde immediately calls for the others to attack. As soon as he finishes speaking, 3 lackeys charge at Kang Wook-sung. But lackeys are just lackeys after all. They're knocked down one punch at a time by Kang Wook-sung. The fat guy in orange clothing tries to ambush him, but Kang Wook-sung dodges by bending down. Then he catches the punching arm with both hands. Using the opponent's force, he executes an over-the-shoulder throw, slamming him hard to the ground. Getting carried away, Kang Wook-sung doesn't hesitate and continues charging at the last delinquent. Seeing this, that delinquent is frightened and begs for mercy. "Don't come any closer. I was just putting on a tough act." But unfortunately, he still can't escape a beating. Lee Min-soo picks up his backpack and sighs, asking Kang Kang Wook-sung if he didn't say campus violence was prohibited. Facing Lee Min-soo's question, he turns to look, then smiles and says he should call him his name at times like this. Lee Min-soo walks forward with his head down, saying he's no longer his brother. Stop meddling. Staying by his side will only drag him into trouble. Kang Wook-sung says he's not trouble but his brother. No matter what Lee Min-soo thinks, they'll always be inseparable brothers. Lee Min-soo pauses for a moment, then says, just throw away that watch. If you're adopted by a rich family, you should replace it. Even I feel embarrassed. Kang Wook-sung scratches his head and says he doesn't care. Besides, the watch on his hand needs replacing more. Walking home, Lee Min-soo can't stop thinking about Kang Wook-sung's actions. If today's incident prevents Kang Wook-sung from getting into university, that would be bad. Kang Wook-sung is both student council president and a guaranteed admission student to medical school. His original name was Lee Hyun-soo. He's Lee Min-soo's blood-related older brother. Years ago, he was adopted by a wealthy family, while Lee Min-soo remained at the welfare orphanage. So he thinks his brother shouldn't be involved with him anymore. He should walk his own path, while Lee Min-soo will find his own way to survive. And inside this abandoned clothing donation box is his path to survival. Stored here is all the money he saved during this time, 3.4 million. He still needs 6.6 million to reach his 10 million goal, so he's considering whether to go to other schools for blood donation certificates, since his school's next blood drive isn't for 3 months. As for why he's so obsessed with making money this way, it goes back to when he left the orphanage 2 years ago. Back then, although the government gave him 5 million as assistance, with that money he couldn't even afford a bathroom. And as an underage orphan, it was hard to get hired for work. So even though he knows it's a crime, this is the only way to make money quickly. Just as Lee Min-soo stores the money, he hears a whoa sound. The blonde has somehow appeared behind him. He grabs Lee Min-soo's shoulder and says, "Want me to tell you something interesting? If you're caught, money earned through crime will be confiscated by the government." After saying this, he starts laughing loudly in Lee Min-soo's ear. Lee Min-soo demands to know what he wants, and the blonde tells him he said he would make him piss his pants every time he saw him. Meanwhile, in the noisy classroom where Kang Wook-sung is, the teacher suddenly arrives and tells them to quiet down. He has an announcement to make. Zhao Chang-soo, who went to the correctional facility, has returned. He believes Chang-soo has truly reflected on his behavior and asks the classmates to help him readjust to campus life. After hearing this, the classmates start discussing. Some say, if Chang-soo hears this, the teacher will get beaten. Others say the correctional facility isn't anything special since he got out in 4 weeks. But the next moment scene leaves them stunned. The youth gang leader they remember, the man who did every evil, has now become someone in a wheelchair with a vacant expression, shouting like an idiot that he needs to pee. Right in front of the entire class, a warm stream sprays from his crotch. Only then do the classmates realize this new Special Reformation Act is no longer child's play. Meanwhile, at the welfare orphanage, police pull up caution tape at an alley entrance, surrounded by crowds. A murder case has occurred here. The driver tells Kang Wook-sung they might be late for today's academy party because there seems to be an accident ahead causing traffic congestion. Kang Wook-sung says that place is the orphanage where he used to live. Nothing should happen there. But then he seems to see something. He immediately opens the car door in panic. The watch lying on the ground is his brother Lee Min-soo's. At this moment, a bad sense of crisis surges in his heart. He quickly pushes through the crowd and rushes forward, but the scene before him makes his pupils dilate instantly. Lee Min-soo has now been arrested by police and handcuffed, and according to Article 243 of the Special Reformation Act, he will be sent to the Reformation Correctional Facility for concentrated management. In the juvenile simplified court at the Reformation Correctional Facility, the judge furiously scolds Lee Min-soo as hopeless, showing no sign of reflection. "Don't forget, you're sitting there because of murder charges." Lee Min-soo keeps his head down and insists he didn't kill anyone, but the judge completely ignores him, only taking out a brick with his fingerprints and bloodstains, along with all the crimes he's committed so far. If people killed others because of bullying, stealing money, or disliking someone, there would be countless corpses in this world. The reason he commits crimes is because he can't trust adults. He should learn to ask adults for help. Therefore, under Article 28 of the Reformation Act, a reform detention order is issued. He will go to the correctional facility with this busload of criminal youths. The instructors on the bus, smiling broadly, tell them to quiet down. They're close to their destination. Soon, the bus reaches its destination. These youths have no sense of crisis. Instead, they complain about how they'll sleep in this rundown environment. But as the bus goes deeper, they spot a group of girls with amazing figures. Their hearts immediately begin to flutter. They even start competing to pick from among these girls. The instructor quickly tells them to calm down. This is the girls' Youth Reformation Center. Our building is on the other side. At this moment, Lee Min-soo leans against the window in silence, still recalling the judge's words about trusting adults. But even though he's telling the truth, no one believes him. How can he trust adults? Soon, the bus arrives at the boys' Youth Reformation Center. Initially, these delinquent youths are still very arrogant toward the instructors here, but the next scene leaves their mouths gaping. A group of tattooed, muscular youths are running while crying bitterly, and while running, they're making various animal sounds. This makes the newly arrived, clueless delinquents burst into laughter. At this moment, an instructor seems to notice something. He immediately shouts loudly, "All members, stop exercising!" Then those criminal youths with red letter grades marked on their chests stand at attention in perfect formation, not daring to make the slightest movement. Then the instructor shouts loudly, "Show respect to the director! All personnel, salute!" Then this group raises their arms in salute salute in unison. The director says expressionlessly team members stand in formation. Hearing this, Lee Min-soo and the others wonder if they have to do this too. At this moment, the director shows a wicked smile and then says, "Dog position." As soon as he finishes speaking, the newly arrived criminal youths burst into mocking laughter. This seemingly simple command causes the other criminal youths to collectively slam their heads to the ground. This beast-like mode makes some of the newcomers discuss. Doesn't he know about youth rights laws? At this moment, the director points at them and says, "Looks like some pests are still disobedient." Then he shouts, "Piglets!" Then pig squeals continuously rise from those criminal youths with their heads to the ground. "In 10 minutes, I'll turn those pests into livestock." As soon as he finishes speaking, a newly arrived criminal youth tries to angrily retort. The next second, a fist smashes into his face. Lee Min-soo and the other newcomers' pupils dilate at this scene. Those criminal youths make pig sounds like hungry wolves, slowly approaching them, as if they want to release all their long-accumulated resentment on these newcomers. In no time, most of them have been dealt with. The director says he likes how they are now. So from now on, you're no longer pigs. You've been promoted from pigs to servants. You can speak like normal people. Only then do these criminal youths speak human words for the first time in a while. Answering, "Understood." Lee Min-soo cunningly lies on the ground and plays dead. The remaining people are either chased by those hungry wolves or run toward the surrounding instructors seeking help. Don't be fooled by the instructors' constant smiles. They hate these social scum and parasites to the bone. So violence becomes their only means. Subtle control of force and strikes avoiding vital areas. Violence not aimed at killing achieves the teaching result. Lee Min-soo sees all of this. After all, no one wants to become a murderer. Neither does he. But at this moment, the director suddenly appears in front of him. Very intense, isn't it, young man? You just arrived and should be bewildered. Yet here you are playing clever tricks. Just as Lee Min-soo is about to apologize, a foot steps on his face. No need to apologize. I like clever, cunning mice. From now on, you're a mouse to keep me entertained. And he orders Lee Min-soo to only make squeaking mouse sounds from now on. With no choice, Lee Min-soo complies. At this moment, 2 instructors report that everyone has been sorted out. So these newly arrived criminal youths are stripped of their clothes and made to kneel together. And what comes next is their evaluation phase. On the other side, Kang Wook-sung finds Chang-soo's home. He knocks for a long time but gets no response. So he takes out scissors, planning to pick the lock this way. Soon, the door is easily opened by him. He's mastered this lock-picking skill since childhood. When he was young, he and his brother Lee Min-soo often broke into empty houses. Min-soo stood guard in the hallway while he stole anything valuable from inside. In just 5 minutes, they could steal all the valuables from a house. They repeated this burglary behavior for several years, until they were caught by police and sent to the orphanage. Only then did this life stop. Since then, Kang Wook-sung never thought he'd do it again. But today, his purpose isn't burglary but to find his brother's whereabouts. And Chang-soo, lying on the bed with his hands tied, is currently the person who knows where the correctional facility is located. Chang-soo lies on the bed crying, saying he's pooped himself again. Looking at this mentally disabled youth before him, Kang Wook-sung can't help wondering what kind of reformation facility could turn him into this. They say you fell from a height and hit your head, but you have no injuries or fractures. I'm afraid there's another reason for your current state, right? But Chang-soo now can't understand his questions at all. He just keeps shouting that he needs to poop. Seeing this, Kang Wook-sung slaps his head. For you, it was only 4 weeks, but I don't know when my brother will get out. So hurry up and answer my questions. Kang Wook-sung is extremely anxious now, because the evil Chang-soo became like this in just 4 weeks. He doesn't dare imagine what condition his brother will be in when he gets out. But Chang-soo is now just a mentally disabled fool. He won't give any response at all, only feeling pain and repeatedly saying he was wrong. Stop hitting him. Kang Wook-sung realizes this guy really has become mentally disabled. Continuing to question him is just wasting time. But at this moment, he suddenly discovers something on Chang-soo. This discovery is a letter grade marked on Chang-soo's chest. And this marking is the letter that every criminal youth gets marked with after entering the correctional facility. The director gives this evaluation based on the severity of each youth's case. The director scans the group and finds this batch is just boring minor characters. But suddenly he discovers someone different. That's Lee Min-soo. He excitedly stands up and shouts, "I knew my eyes wouldn't deceive me. Congratulations, Mouse Lee Min-soo. You're more violent than you look. I didn't expect the only grade A in this batch to be you. During your training period, you'll have a particularly pleasant time." At this moment, hearing this, Lee Min-soo only feels a strong sense of crisis surging. After asking around, Kang Wook-sung arrives at the gate of Yeonji Girls Middle School. At this moment, a group of girls just getting out of school walk out happily. One of the girls seems to have discovered something incredible. She hurriedly stops her friend who's still eating and, blushing, tells her to look in that direction. At this moment, Kang Wook-sung is sitting on a bicycle reading a book. Due to his overly handsome appearance, the 2 girls instantly become cute and approach to chat him up. The girl wearing a mask asks suggestively if he's a trainee. Kang Wook-sung takes off his earphones and says sorry, he's not. He asks if he can inquire about something, but that inadvertent smile instantly captures their girlish hearts. They say they can not only answer his questions but also provide their home addresses. Kang Wook-sung explains he's looking for someone named Gu Se-min, but hearing the name, the girls' expressions suddenly change. They point into the crowd and say, "You're not looking for that crazy woman, are you? She just got out of the correctional facility." The next second, sensing Gu Se-min's gaze, they're immediately frightened into lowering their fingers. and deliberately avoiding her. After confirming his target, Kang Wook-sung strides forward and blocks Gu Se-min. Blocked, Gu Se-min asks what he wants. Kang Wook-sung says he has some questions about the correctional facility he'd like to ask her. Hearing correctional facility, Gu Se-min shoves him aside and tells him to get lost and stop bothering her. At this moment, Kang Wook-sung bows his head and explains he doesn't mean to offend. His brother has now been sent to that place. But after hearing this, Gu Se-min doesn't stop, just as Kang Wook-sung wonders if he asked too directly. A motorcycle helmet is thrown at him. Gu Se-min signals him to get on. She doesn't think they should talk about the correctional facility here. On the road, Kang Wook-sung asks what made her change her mind, and the reason is that Gu Se-min's brother is still there too. As for the correctional facility, she describes it with just 2 words: hell. At this moment, the criminal youths just sent to the correctional facility have already endured 3 hours of high-intensity training. They're so exhausted their muscles won't stop trembling. They only hope this damned punishment will end soon. But the next second, at the instructor's command, Lee Min-soo shouts out mouse squeaks, while the others make pig sounds. But the instructors curse that their sounds are wrong. When shouting 1, it should be pig sounds. When shouting 2, it should be ugh sounds. So under the instructor's 1-2 commands, the criminal youths begin making pig sounds and ugh sounds while squatting. Lee Min-soo's situation is less complicated. He just needs to continuously make mouse sounds. The rising and falling livestock sounds make the director on the platform thoroughly enjoy himself. He thinks livestock sounds are always so wonderful. At this moment, one criminal youth collapses from exhaustion. What greets him is the instructor's fists and kicks, followed by shouting, "Someone fell behind! Everyone start over!" The criminal youth explains his stomach really hurts and begs the instructor to let him go to the bathroom. The instructor says, "Weren't you arrogant when you first came? Now you can't even handle this?" At this moment, the director notices the situation and stops the instructor. He comes to the criminal youth and says, "You must have endured for a long time before speaking, so don't be afraid. Stand up. I'll give you a chance to use the bathroom." Then he asks the crowd, "Does anyone else want to use the bathroom?" Seeing the director's understanding appearance, the crowd starts responding one after another. Soon, those wanting to use the bathroom form a long line. The instructor beside them keeps asking, "Anyone else want to go? If you don't go now, there won't be another chance." Seeing no response, the instructor orders the remaining personnel to restart training. Lee Min-soo in the line is thinking, are they really going to send them to the bathroom? If those who don't go have to continue training, then everyone will pretend their stomach hurts and drop out, just like some people ahead have already started playing tricks. Besides, the director previously looked like he wanted to kill them. This current behavior makes Lee Min-soo feel very strange. After all, kindness without cost is like unknown fruit on mountain trees. The sweeter and more tempting it is, the more people can't resist reaching out to pick it. So after some thought, Lee Min-soo raises his hand and makes mouse squeaks. The instructor runs up and asks his name and what he wants. Lee Min-soo still only makes mouse sounds until the instructor orders him to speak human words. Only then does he say his stomach suddenly doesn't hurt and he wants to return to training. As soon as he finishes speaking, the instructor suddenly grabs his neck and angrily scolds him, thinking this is a joke. Lee Min-soo explains he might have exerted too much force, startling his stomach, which made him want to use the bathroom. But he's fine now. "Get back, you bastard. I'll be watching you." Lee Min-soo, who drops out of the bathroom line, is mocked by other criminal youths. But Lee Min-soo knows clearly that the people here see them as livestock. Using the bathroom is a human thing. It has nothing to do with livestock. Soon the criminal youths, wanting to use the bathroom, are arranged together. The director gently extends his hand and says, "Whether human or animal, everyone needs to use the bathroom. Holding it will cause problems. You have 30 minutes of rest time." At these words, those criminal youths in the bathroom line show victorious smiles. But at this moment, the director suddenly points at them and says, "What are you smiling about? I wasn't talking about you. But those who didn't go, they can rest now. As for you, now you begin human centipede training." At this moment, Lee Min-soo is extremely grateful he sensed something wrong and chose to drop out. Centipedes are arthropods belonging to the Chilopoda subphylum. They basically have 15 pairs of legs, up to 177 pairs maximum. They're a lower existence than humans and beasts. And these criminal youths will support themselves with both hands, head to buttocks. If anyone falls during the process, the timing restarts. This is the dear director's fully automatic digestive toilet built for them. During the process, they also have to endure constant beatings from the instructors. You insects wanted to shit, didn't you? Now why isn't anyone shitting? Soon, 30 minutes pass. The instructors wash their bodies with cold water to prevent the stench from polluting the air. The criminal youths who 3 hours ago were like wild beasts have now become livestock ready for slaughter. As dismissal bells ring from the speakers, today's training session finally ends. And what comes next is mealtime and dormitory assignment. Lee Min-soo looks at the food in the tray that looks like pig feed. He wonders if this is really something humans can eat. No seats, no utensils. A crowd eating like livestock. Before eating, an instructor requires them to sing the gratitude song. Just as Lee Min-soo wonders what the gratitude song is, at the instructor's command, the instructors, smiling broadly, begin singing collectively, "We are not human, we are pigs and dogs. We eat whatever we're given." This gratitude song is framed and hung in the center of the cafeteria. Lee Min-soo realizes these people don't just verbally treat them as livestock. They truly see them as livestock in the real sense. He grabs the food with his hands and puts it in his mouth. No matter if his identity is livestock or some other animal, animal. The only thing he needs to do now is endure until he can leave. Meanwhile, Kang Wook-sung is brought by Gu Se-min to a hilltop. From here, the entire appearance of the Reformation Correctional Facility can be seen. Kang Wook-sung asks if she really thinks that place is hell. Gu Se-min says hell is better than that place. It's not a place for humans at all. She often has nightmares about what happens there every day. Now she can't sleep without taking large amounts of sleeping pills. She says seeing him like this, he really cares about his brother. Kang Wook-sung says this was their mother's dying wish, hoping he would always protect him. But in the end, he still couldn't do it. That's why he came to find Gu Se-min. He must do something soon or it will be too late. And among those released from the correctional facility, only Gu Se-min looks completely unaffected. Gu Se-min asks if he wants to know how she survived the correctional facility. Hearing this, Kang Wook-sung hurriedly asks, "So there is a way? How did you safely get out of there?" The next second, Gu Se-min makes a foolish expression. Then she says she pretended to be a fool like this. Kang Wook-sung thinks she's joking and dissatisfiedly tells her to be serious and stop messing around. But after hearing this, Gu Se-min lifts her hair. Her scalp is covered with burn scars. At this scene, Kang Wook-sung's pupils dilate instantly. That place is where all the nation's top psychos gather. A moment of impulse led to conflict. Who would think they'd put someone's head in a pot of hot oil? And looking like that just now, they let me out early. Hearing this, Kang Wook-sung lowers his head and keeps apologizing. But Gu Se-min tells him not to pity her or she'll kill him. Then she says, "You asked what the marking means, right?" After they all arrive at the boys and girls training grounds, the juvenile criminals will have their levels determined based on their crimes. After that, room assignments will be based on these grades. For example, grade E rooms are simple violent crime cases, grade D rooms are drug-related cases, grade C rooms are theft and fraud cases. For reference, the grade B room she was in was for assault. And based on what you said, your brother Lee Min-soo is definitely in a grade A room, because this grade of room is where the most vicious criminals gather, all youths who went in because of murder charges. As soon as Lee Min-soo steps into the room, he draws their fierce stares. He understands this is a confrontation, so he can't back down. At this moment, one criminal suddenly speaks. "Damn guy, don't you know how to introduce yourself?" He rubs his fist together and demands to know where Lee Min-soo came from and why he's here. Lee Min-soo answers he's from the welfare orphanage and attends Jangle High School. As soon as he finishes, these veterans all start laughing mockingly, saying, "Another kid from the elite track orphanage." One veteran even says he knows someone from Jangle High School. He remembers it's a third-year student named Zhao Chang-soo. But suddenly a loud shout to shut up rings out. Several veterans are immediately frightened into a cold sweat. A long-haired veteran asks Lee Min-soo why he came in. "If you're assigned to this room, you must have caused quite a bit of trouble. Based on the situation just now, this long-haired guy should be the boss of this room." So Lee Min-soo says without hesitation, "Because of murder." As soon as he says this, everyone except the long-haired veteran widens their eyes. Cold sweat starts forming on their faces, saying, "This can't be a lie, can it?" And their bizarre reaction makes Lee Min-soo think, could he be the only one who killed someone? He thought they'd group him with similar crimes, but now it seems murder is the most serious here, and the severity of the crime apparently relates to the power distribution here. At this moment, one veteran suddenly says to the long-haired guy, "Looks like our pet dog will have to continue being the rookie." Lee Min-soo is a bit confused. Could that long-haired guy not be the boss but the lowest one here? But the next second he realizes his thought was wrong. They're not talking about that long-haired veteran, but about the white-haired guy being used as a bench under the long-haired guy's butt. He's the lowest one here. The long-haired guy suddenly stands up and complains, "Sitting like this is really uncomfortable." After hearing this, the white-haired guy who just spoke human words to apologize gets beaten by a veteran, accusing him of speaking human words again. Helplessly, the white-haired guy can only make mouse-like squeaks. This scene is exactly the same as Lee Min-soo's previous experience. The weak are bullied whether outside or inside. So at this moment, Lee Min-soo secretly makes up his mind. If they think they can order him around, he'd rather accept being treated as a murderer. At 7 in the evening, it's their reflection time. The criminal kids at the correctional facility must write 10 self-reflection essays every day, but Lee Min-soo doesn't know what to write. After all, that blonde who bullied him wasn't killed by him. Suddenly, a wad of paper lands on Lee Min-soo's desk. Two veterans are using the reflection paper to play a baseball game. Lee Min-soo curiously asks if they're not writing reflection essays. That veteran says, "Why bother with that crap? Our pet dog will write them all for us anyway." And he tells Lee Min-soo not to write either. Just give it all to the pet dog. But at this moment, the white-haired guy clutches his crotch and makes 2 barking sounds. Only after getting the veteran's permission does he speak human words to say he needs to use the bathroom. The 2 veterans don't make it difficult. They agree to this request. But just as the white-haired guy is about to relieve himself, one veteran kicks him in the butt. He says the white-haired guy is just a dog now, not a person, so he should pee like a dog. Under the supervision of the 2 veterans, the white-haired guy has no choice but to comply. 8 in the evening is shower time. Everyone has 3 minutes to shower using only soap and water, and what Lee Min-soo can't stand is that one small bar of soap is shared among 50 people. 9 in the evening is the instructor's inspection and roll call time. The veterans and Lee Min-soo count off from 1 to 5 in order. But when it's the white-haired guy's turn, he shockingly makes a barking sound. Without thinking, this is clearly a threat from these veterans. If he doesn't comply, he'll get beaten after the inspection ends. And if he does comply, he'll get beaten by the instructors. Whichever choice the white-haired guy makes, he can't avoid a beating. But the white-haired guy can tell. A short beating is more humane than prolonged torture after the inspection. 10 in the evening, lights out and sleep, ending the day. At this moment, Lee Min-soo's heart is filled with mixed emotions, unable to sleep, because the white-haired guy sleeping next to him is crying intermittently. A senior inmate just complains, "Why are you crying like a human?" White hair immediately covers his mouth, sobbing while making squeaking sounds. Living in the correctional facility, they must wake up early. 5:30 in the morning is time for cleaning and roll call inspection. At 6 o'clock, after roll call, staff members arrive to deliver breakfast. At the table, Lee Min-soo asks curiously, "Why don't we eat in the cafeteria?" The bald senior inmate tells him, "It's because there's outdoor training this afternoon. So today they're eating indoors." This time, the instructors even humanely prepared spoons for them. Min-soo continues, "Where did the pet dog go during mealtime?" Hearing this, the senior inmates all look down beneath the table. That's when Min-soo suddenly realizes this inexplicably appearing table is actually white hair serving as one. Min-soo says when he's working, he should at least get some food. The bald senior tells him not to worry. They'll care for Bobby like friends. The tattooed senior chimes in, "That's right. Where else can you find friends who'll personally feed him?" With that, they dump their leftover food together and stir it up. A delicious dog food meal made by good friends appears. This is Bobby's special meal. The white hair is deeply repulsed inside. He has no choice but to get down and eat like a dog, fearing a beating. But just then, Min-soo kicks over the table with a shout, "Don't eat that!" The senior inmates are left puzzled by this scene. Min-soo asks white hair, "Are you really treating yourself like a dog, Moon-hyun-jun?" But instead, white hair shows no sign of hope or gratitude, only sheer terror on his face. This all comes from the long-haired senior Gu Se-hyun. He warns Min-soo, "This place has its own hierarchy system and rules. You came late, so you must follow these rules. If you don't like it, fight to become the leader. But before that, you need to defeat white hair Bobby first to earn that right. Because once the challenge is issued, white hair's rank is above Min-soo's. If Min-soo loses, he'll become the new pet dog in this room." Min-soo curses, "This damn hierarchy game is so childish," but what he doesn't realize is that white hair Moon Hyun-jun is staring at him like a hungry wolf. Just as Min-soo says they should stop this, white hair's fist already crashes into his face. He knows today might be his only chance to escape the pet dog status, so he can't miss it. Seeing the fight, the senior inmates start shouting, "Good job, Bobby! This is your chance to shed your rookie status." They also taunt Min-soo, "Why aren't you fighting back? Do you want to become the new pet dog?" Min-soo knows that losing this fight means falling to the very bottom, but white hair beating him while wiping away tears truly puzzles Min-soo. Meanwhile, Kang Wook-sung arrives at the welfare orphanage. The director says he's enlisting tomorrow. Has he taken everything he needs? Wook-sung, holding a penguin doll, says everything's packed. "These are treasures to me and Min-soo." The director says, "Those two brothers were the biggest troublemakers in the orphanage, especially Wook-sung, always fighting other kids. The children were so scared they didn't dare come near the orphanage." Wook-sung explains that she misunderstood. "Though I did fight with the kids often, they weren't afraid of me. They feared Min-soo. He's the real terrifying madman. Once he snaps, no one can stop him." Right now, white hair cries "I'm sorry" while his fists and feet show no mercy. He has only one goal in mind. He no longer wants to be Bobby like before. Min-soo gets beaten down, holding his head with both hands on the ground. The bald senior, who was previously afraid after hearing Min-soo was a murderer, now shows his true colors, seemingly convinced Min-soo has already become Bobby. Not satisfied with just beating him, he taunts verbally, "This is why your parents abandoned you, you trash loser, new Bobby." But the moment he finishes speaking, his head receives a violent punch. As if a keyword was triggered, Min-soo completely transforms. With just one punch, he knocks the bald senior unconscious. This scene leaves everyone else stunned, especially white hair Moon Hyun-jun, who stands frozen in place. Just as Wook-sung said, he's the one who's truly terrifying. And when enraged, Min-soo has only one thought in mind, to turn everyone here into Bobby. "I told you, you will all become the new Bobby." But then a senior kicks him in the back. 3 seniors have now teamed up. "Turn us all into Bobby? Are you insane? Don't act tough. This is greater room. This place is full of people who think they're tough. We've been lenient with you because you're an abandoned orphan." But before he can finish, a plunger gets shoved into his mouth. Now, because the keyword was triggered again, Min-soo becomes even more furious, roaring, "Shut up!" Then he punches the senior's face, breaking the plunger into 2 pieces. Seeing this, the other 2 seniors can't sit still anymore and rush forward. One even threatens to kill him. But the next moment scene freezes them in place. Min-soo holds the broken plunger like a weapon, his eyes like a madman's as he points it at them. "Kill me. Have you ever killed anyone before?" Meanwhile, at a golf course, Councilman Kang casually swings his club and his subordinates immediately applaud, kissing up to him. Wook-sung kneels nearby. The councilman asks him how he got that thing. Wook-sung says that although it's early, he's ready to enlist. The priority is solving youth problems. It'll benefit your political career. Hearing this, Councilman Kang chuckles. "The guy thinking of me lost his medical school admission. Explain it clearly, Wook-sung. Is it because of that brother of yours in the correctional facility? But even if you enlist now, there's no guarantee you'll be assigned to the youth correctional facility." Hearing this, Wook-sung says, "That's exactly why I'm here asking for your help. If anyone can make it happen, it's you, father." But the councilman responds, "Why should I clean up your brother's mess?" Just as Wook-sung thinks his father ultimately won't help, the councilman changes his tone. "If you perform well in the future and help me become president, why not? Come on. help your dad become president. At this moment, Min-soo, like a hungry wolf, roars at the seniors, "You bunch of bobbies, are you ready for punishment?" But the next second, the senior who was knocked down suddenly gets up and tightly restrains Min-soo with both hands. Then the bald senior doesn't hesitate to punch Min-soo in the head. After one punch, Min-soo instantly goes silent. The senior worries he might be dead, so the two who struck him start shifting blame. But this is all Min-soo's act. He suddenly exerts force, headbutting the chin of the senior, restraining him, then immediately kicks the bald senior in the crotch. In just an instant, Min-soo completely turns the tables. Then Gu Se-hyun walks toward him. "Your trigger word must be mother, or is it abandoned that makes you angry? How heartbreaking. Does your mother know that the son she abandoned became a murderer?" The moment he finishes, Min-soo stabs at him with the sharp plunger handle, but Se-hyun easily catches it with one hand. Min-soo snarls, "Apologize now, unless you want to lose your eyes." Se-hyun asks in confusion, "Why should I apologize? For your mother abandoning you, or for you committing murder? Enough, let's stop here." With that, Se-hyun releases his grip. He shouts, "It wasn't me! He started it!" Then turns around and assumes a hands-on-head position. Min-soo still doesn't understand what he's talking about when he turns his head to see 3 guards with batons rushing at him. "You maggot, causing trouble right after arriving." The other senior inmates already have their hands on their heads all against the wall. What awaits Min-soo is a fierce beating with batons. Se-hyun reports, "Lee Min-soo attacked people in the room with a weapon. Someone got injured in the process. I'll write the details in a report and submit it to you." The instructor asks them, "Did you do nothing? Did he cause all this himself?" Everyone answers in unison, "That's right." After thinking, even pet dog Whitehair replies, "Yes." Then Min-soo is dragged to the door like a dead dog by the instructor. What awaits him will be 15 days of solitary confinement. The solitary room is also called the punishment room, a place to isolate troublemakers for a period of time. Days spent here don't count toward total detention time. This means Min-soo has extended his own detention period. Not only is he monitored 24 hours a day, but he must also maintain a kneeling position until sleep. Even worse, his hands and feet are restrained. He can only eat like an animal, using his mouth. Only when using the toilet are the restraints removed. But there's another terrible problem: no toilet paper. He can only use the water faucet behind him to clean himself. After 7 o'clock, there's also reflection time. Even in solitary confinement, he must write a reflection letter. This time, Min-soo writes twice as much as before, but everything he writes is about the characteristics of the senior inmates in the room. He believes everyone here is problematic, but the biggest problem lies with the long-haired Gu Se-hyun. No matter what, he must take down this bastard. Unknowingly, Min-soo falls asleep. He dreams of things that happened when he was a child. He and Wook-sung stand in front of a house engulfed in flames. Then he suddenly wakes up with tears streaming down his face. Min-soo bangs his head on the ground, cursing, "Damn it, perhaps this environment keeps bringing those terrible memories into his dreams." This makes Min-soo afraid to fall back asleep because he fears having the same nightmare again. Soon the 15 days end. Min-soo returns to the designated room. He faces the senior inmates with fierce eyes about to explode, but unexpectedly, the seniors apologize with smiles. "We're sorry. We went too far before. Bobby has decided not to play Bobby anymore. From now on, let's get along." Seeing this, Min-soo thinks they've genuinely reformed. But just as he's about to accept their apology, the next second, Min-soo's head receives a kick. Se-hyun, who struck, taunts, "Were you looking for me, mama's boy?" 2 seniors follow immediately, restraining Min-soo's limbs. They stuff a stinking sock into his mouth so he can't make sounds to alert the instructors. Step by step, they carry Min-soo toward the toilet. Se-hyun says, "I'm glad you missed me so much, but unfortunately, there's someone even more eager to see you." With that, the bald senior slowly removes his clothing and keeps approaching Min-soo in the toilet. Just as Min-soo thinks he's about to be violated, a shout of "enough" instantly stops the senior's actions. Se-hyun looks at the arriving guard. "You look like a new guard, but don't meddle. We're doing this with permission. No one's permission matters. Your punishment will be dealt with later." The guard slowly approaches and extends his hand to Min-soo. Min-soo looks up and freezes the moment he sees who it is. Kang Wook-sung suddenly appears as a guard. He extends his hand to Min-soo, already having calculated a plan. As long as Min-soo follows it, he'll soon regain his freedom. But right now, Min-soo bypasses him and delivers a heavy punch straight to the bald senior's jaw. "What were you trying to do taking off your pants just now?" Min-soo also knows the real culprit isn't the bald guy, but the room boss Gu Se-hyun standing before him. So without hesitation, he assumes a fighting stance and challenges Se-hyun. Meanwhile, the other 3 seniors surround Wook-sung. They size him up. "You look too young to be a guard, but either way, every room has its own rules, and these rules are permitted. Or will you follow this room's rules too?" Wook-sung responds, "You mean the fighting rules? Then I guess I need to follow the rules too." Hearing this, the seniors show smug smiles. "Then don't go back on your word and use your guard status to settle scores later." Wook-sung smiles slightly, indicating he's always a man of his word. On the other side, Min-soo, no matter how he swings his fists, he can't touch Se-hyun at all. Se-hyun mocks him. "You don't even have the strength to stand steady, yet you're shouting." Taking this opportunity, he turns to check on the situation with the others. He discovers that in just that instant, Wook-sung has subdued everyone. The seniors didn't even have a chance to fight back. Just as he wonders what's happening, Min-soo's attack arrives quietly. Distracted, his chin receives a fierce blow from Min-soo. Then Min-soo shouts triumphantly, "You're fighting me, please don't look around." Having taken that hit, Se-hyun's veins bulge slightly on his forehead. He thought that by holding back before, Min-soo would know when to stop, but now, he decides to personally teach this guy a harsh lesson to make him understand what a real power gap is. Do you know why Bobby became Bobby? The unyielding Min-soo stands up again and kicks at him, shouting, "What Bobby? I don't care! Bobby was once the room boss here, just like you, not knowing your place and acting recklessly, getting beaten one-sidedly." Min-soo clearly understands the gap between them, but he believes he absolutely cannot lose so easily, so he swings his fist again. "In this room, you're the most pathetic bastard." But what greets him is a fierce strike. After this blow, the room falls completely silent. Min-soo feels all the strength drain from his body, his consciousness foggy. Yet he's still thinking, damn it, I got beaten by that bastard who insulted my mother. Besides that one sneak kick, he couldn't even land a single hit. More importantly, every time he gets beaten, Wook-sung is present. Wook-sung asks Min-soo, "How do you feel? Still alive?" But Min-soo simply closes his eyes and passes out. Wook-sung looks at him and sighs helplessly. Then he hoists Min-soo entirely onto his shoulder. Sehyeon watches them preparing to leave and asks where he's taking Min-soo. He needs to learn his lesson. Wook-sung responds, of course, to solitary confinement. He disrupted order and must be punished, but Sehyeon says at this moment, "You performed well just now. How about a fight with me?" Wook-sung says if he doesn't want to be punished, he should take back those words. Also, please don't fight. That's what your sister said. Hearing this, Sehyeon freezes in place. When Min-soo wakes up again, he finds himself back in the solitary room. He resentfully decides in his heart that next time he returns to the room, he'll definitely shave off all of Sehyeon's hair. Later, feeling sharp pain in his stomach, he squats over the toilet. After relieving himself, he discovers the faucet won't produce water. This means his hands won't be able to be washed after wiping. But then he notices toilet paper placed nearby. He feels strange. This time in solitary, not only is there toilet paper available, but his hands and feet aren't even restrained. That's when he realizes he seems to have forgotten something important. Suddenly thinking of something, he punches the iron door and shouts at the guard outside, "How did you end up here? Are you insane? Why come to this place instead of going to medical school? Since you have a stepfather, just live happily. Why play hero to save me? Get the hell out of here now. Don't worry about this murderer anymore. Why ruin your own life for a killer?" Wook-sung calmly responds, "No matter who says you're a murderer, I believe you didn't kill anyone, Min-soo. Because you're my brother." Then Wook-sung explains his entire plan. Min-soo just needs to follow what he says, and he can leave here early, as long as he doesn't keep getting thrown into solitary like an idiot. Min-soo says all of this is fine, but before that, he has one request. He wants to fight that long-haired bastard again. Wook-sung asks him, "Knowing you'll lose, why fight him again?" Min-soo explains because that guy insulted mother. The moment he finishes, Wook-sung falls silent. Then he says, "I can tolerate everything else, but not someone who insults mother. So for this duel, I'll teach you how to win. But if you lose again to that person who insulted mother, I'll kill you myself." When the 15 days of solitary confinement end, Min-soo faces the vicious seniors surrounding him, and actually volunteers to be Bobby, getting down on the ground like a pet dog. This is the first strategy they discussed during those 15 days. Endure and submit to wait for an opportunity to strike back. Just like that, Min-soo becomes the second Bobby in the room. His back is used by the seniors as a game board for playing Gomoku. But after just an hour, Min-soo can't take it anymore. He angrily stands up suddenly and roars, startling two seniors. The seniors glare at him viciously. "Changed your mind about being Bobby now? Want us to re-establish the hierarchy for you?" Hearing this, Min-soo's veins bulge all over. He really wants to beat up this guy in front of him, but he promised Wook-sung to endure for 5 days. After 5 days, even if the superintendent interferes, Wook-sung will handle everything in this room and set up the stage for Min-soo's revenge. Right now, all he needs to do is keep enduring. Thinking this, Min-soo props himself up using his clean abdomen as the board and telling them to start a new game. On day 2, he's learned to clean like a spider. On day 3, he and white-hair Bobby are responsible for the seniors' reflection essays together. By day 4, he can not only urinate like a pet dog, but also eat the special meal prepared by the seniors while calling out "so delicious." Min-soo knows that if he just endures today, it'll all be over. But the inhumane mixed food still makes him vomit in the toilet. White-hair kindly says, "If you throw it all up, you'll be too weak." He smiles and hands Min-soo a candy, telling him not to tell others or they'll both get beaten. "Let's just do our best being Bobby here. Don't think about anything else." For a moment, Min-soo doesn't know how to handle this sudden kindness. But his time as Bobby is only until today. But often, accidents happen at moments like these. During outdoor group activities, the seniors are playing a frisbee catching game with the two Bobbies, Min-soo and White-hair. But while chasing the frisbee, White-hair accidentally bumps into members of the kitchen crew. The ones who were bumped glare fiercely at White-hair. "What's going on? Want to fight us?" White-hair trembles and asks, "Want to play frisbee together?" Meanwhile, Sehyeon is lying leisurely on the ground, wondering how Wook-sung knows his sister. But suddenly a shout interrupts his thoughts. 3 kitchen crew seniors question him. "Is this dog on the ground yours? You idiot, can't even watch your own dog. Was it intentional? Want to start a war with our kitchen crew?" Seeing the room member getting beaten, the seniors immediately roll up their sleeves, demanding an immediate apology. "If you want war, bring it on. We're not afraid." But then Sehyeon says, "Forget it. Don't make this bigger. Let's handle it rationally. No need to escalate." Hearing this, the kitchen crew's senior chuckles, then delivers a heavy kick to Whitehair's head. Your rationality really pisses me off. Seeing this, the seniors collectively turn their heads and pretend not to see. They think going to war with the kitchen crew over one bobby really isn't worth it. Min-soo asks them, don't the guards care about these things? The seniors say, the guards don't care about these small fights. They usually let us solve it ourselves. Hearing this, Min-soo's face darkens as he stands frozen. His heart is making a choice. On one side is the candy white hair kindly gave him that day. On the other is his promise with Wook-sung about the plan. In the end, he chooses to turn away coldly. The kitchen crew senior beats Whitehair while taunting them loudly. Your pet dog feels great to beat. Can I borrow him for a few days to have some fun? The moment he finishes, a frisbee slams hard into his face. The kitchen crew senior falls instantly, unable to react. The seniors turn back to see who threw it and are all stunned. And that person is Min-soo, who chose kindness. You bunch of thugs came here after causing enough trouble outside, huh? So you want to continue the crap you did outside here? Right. Here you're just a bunch of livestock. Livestock with no dignity or pride. That's why you pick on the weaker ones. Just as Min-soo is about to pull Whitehair up, Sehyeon walks over at this moment. I said don't interfere. Can't you understand human speech? At the same time, the red-haired kitchen crew senior comes over and grabs Sehyeon's shoulder. What's your meaning? Should I go tell our boss you're declaring war on us? Go ahead and declare war. But before that, I need to handle our internal matter first. Hearing there's going to be a fight, the delinquent youths immediately surround them to watch the show. Min-soo knows he's messed up the first promise, but he'll keep the other one. Sehyeon ties up his hair and asks Min-soo, want another beating? Min-soo fearlessly responds, how about a bet? Whoever wins becomes the room boss. At this moment, Wook-sung in the classroom has already handled everything. The kids in the correctional facility are all minors, so they're scheduled for basic classes at specific times each week. During class time, all authority belongs to the classroom supervisor. In short, during basic classes, whatever happens is entirely up to the supervisor. Wook-sung obtained the opportunity to become supervisor during this period, and today, Min-soo will defeat Sehyeon to become the new room boss. In his plan, their duel will take place in a small area formed by several desks. Wook-sung checks his watch, puzzled. The time has come. Why haven't the main characters arrived yet? Then commotion outside catches his attention. He looks closely and discovers the duel between the two has already begun. Seeing this scene, Wook-sung sighs helplessly. Then he steps onto the windowsill and shouts down, Min-soo, you're such a bastard! Though during the 15 days in solitary, Wook-sung repeatedly taught Min-soo the same combo technique every day. First step, hook. Second step, liver punch. Third step, uppercut. Fourth step, mid-level kick. Front kick plus roundhouse kick. Then follow with a leg sweep. Finish with a straight punch. But Wook-sung knows this alone isn't enough to defeat Sehyeon, though Sehyeon has such strength without training. In Wook-sung's view, his techniques are flashy but lacking substance, with no coherent flow between moves. As long as Min-soo masters this combo technique in 15 days, and fights in the special battlefield classroom he arranged, with many corners to trap him, using the environment to force him into a corner. Once Min-soo achieves this, his combo will definitely hit Sehyeon and defeat him. But now Min-soo has completely disrupted the entire plan. Wook-sung rushes downstairs at this moment, thinking his brother is as disobedient as always. When he arrives, the human wall formed by the delinquent youths prevents him from seeing the situation clearly. So now there's no time for plans. He can only use his identity to stop this fight. But then a piece of popcorn suddenly flies toward him. The superintendent questions him, what are you doing? Why ruin my fun? Seeing it's the superintendent, Wook-sung immediately salutes. I'm the new guard, Kang Wook-sung. These kids are fighting, so I was about to stop them. The superintendent scolds him. Why stop them? Haven't you watched Kingdom of Beasts? That kind of foreign wildlife program? Suppose in that program a snake wants to eat a mouse. What action does the film crew take? Nothing, of course. Because the snake eating the mouse is part of the natural order. Friend, we shouldn't interfere with their fights. Respect the natural order. Besides, isn't watching others fight quite interesting? Seeing the superintendent's crazy demeanor, Wook-sung realizes all he can do now is follow orders. Min-soo keeps trying to attack with the combo technique Wook-sung taught him, but still can't hit Sehyeon at all. Instead, he gets punched in the face again and again. Just as Wook-sung said, without a wall, the combo technique alone isn't enough to hit him. But the disparity in their strength leaves Min-soo currently able to rely only on the combo technique to launch attacks. But a soulless empty shell is ultimately useless effort. Sehyeon seizes the opportunity and kicks him flying. As Min-soo crashes into the crowd, they rain down insults. Seeing this situation, Wook-sung covers his face and sighs, hoping his brother will give up soon so he can devise another plan for a comeback later. Right now, knocked into the crowd, Min-soo only feels sharp pain in his knee. He knows if this continues, he'll definitely lose like last time. To avoid getting hurt worse, the thought of surrendering begins to emerge in his mind. Then a hand pushes Min-soo back out. A group of seniors shout at him, you idiot! What are you spacing out for? Get back up there and fight. If you give up now, you'll have to answer to us. Sehyeon, hands in his pockets, also asks him, what's this mama's boy doing? Looking for your mommy. Hearing this, Min-soo chuckles. A plan has already formed in his mind. Sehyeon asks what he's laughing about. Min-soo responds, nothing, but I think I found a way to beat beat the hell out of you. Seeing the two back in the ring, the crowd erupts in cheers again. Sehyeon yawns. Playtime is over. Min-soo stretches a bit, then says, yes, I think it's time we settle this, though he's now figured out how to execute the combo technique. How to lure Sehyeon over is the problem. Wook-sung discussed with him before that with Min-soo's current strength, he cannot actively force him into a corner. The only way is to enrage Sehyeon and make him attack aggressively, approaching Min-soo who's near the corner. And Wook-sung told Min-soo something that will 100% enrage Sehyeon. Min-soo shouts at Sehyeon with a sleazy look, hey, what do you think of Gusemin's looks? The moment he finishes, Sehyeon is indeed enraged. Without hesitation, he throws a punch at Min-soo near the human wall. As expected, this method works. Before the punch lands, Min-soo blocks it with his palm in advance. Then, taking advantage of the moment, he grabs his hair, then yanks hard and twists his body. The situation changes instantly. Looks like your sister is very special to you. At first, Sehyeon thinks Min-soo hitting him is just an accident, but just as he tries to move his body to dodge Min-soo's next punch, he discovers his body is blocked by the spectators. He cannot effectively dodge or counterattack. He can only let Min-soo's fists continuously strike his head. Any chance he wants to counterattack is hindered by the crowd behind him, with no leverage point to escape from here. That's when Sehyeon realizes he seems to have fallen into a trap. Counterattacking and dodging are impossible because of the spectators behind him. Trying to escape the human wall means taking Min-soo's punches. In short, he's now a sitting duck. The best method is to raise both arms to protect his head. Just as Sehyeon spots an opportunity to counterattack, Min-soo hits his leg joint with a side kick. At this moment, Min-soo continuously chains combo techniques to strike him, releasing all the frustration from these past days. Even as he beats him to the point of swaying, he knows his attacks cannot stop. He cannot give him a moment's breathing room. The relentless barrage keeps hitting every part of Sehyeon's body. As his consciousness begins to blur, Sehyeon knows he cannot take more beating. If the next strike doesn't hit, it's completely over. But right now, his attacks are as slow and powerless as a snail's. He's already lost any possibility of a desperate counterattack. I warned you not to insult my mother. Just thinking about it makes me furious. At this moment, watching the weakling Min-soo turn the tables, the crowd erupts completely, and Min-soo, as if gone berserk, keeps asking with each punch, if you don't know the situation, don't randomly judge other people's mothers, until his final punch misses. Only then does he realize Sehyeon has long been knocked unconscious. The moment Sehyeon falls, everyone's jaws drop. The three seniors in the room are especially shaken. Sehyeon's fall means Min-soo has become the new room boss. Now exhausted, Min-soo is still angry. He doesn't understand why. Even until collapsing, Sehyeon wouldn't apologize for insulting his mother. But suddenly, the watching delinquent youths collectively move, clearing a path. The superintendent leads a group of guards toward him. I thought you couldn't win. Didn't expect you actually did. Looks like the animal kingdom is quite interesting. The mouse actually beat the snake. Just as the panting Min-soo still doesn't understand what he's saying, the superintendent suddenly leans close to his ear. A mouse is indeed a mouse. Even when fighting, so good at playing tricks. Hearing this, Min-soo only dares to respond with squeaking sounds. At this moment, Wook-sung picks up Sehyeon and asks the superintendent what to do. The superintendent says, just throw him in solitary or something. Hearing the order, Wook-sung decisively begins to act. Passing by Min-soo, he complains, this kid is so disobedient. Who does he take after? Min-soo responds with a smile. Maybe he takes after his brother. Though the plan had an accident, fortunately it's completed without real danger. Now it's time to enter phase 2 of the plan. A day later, in an art studio, Gusemin asks, so my brother ended up in solitary? Wook-sung says apologetically, I'm sorry things got out of control. This wasn't part of the plan, but Se-min tells him not to move, because right now, Wook-sung is serving as her human model for painting. Wook-sung asks how much longer. This pose is too hard to maintain. Se-min says she's finished. Maybe this piece will get me into art school as the top student. But when Wook-sung looks at it, his face fills with anger. What the hell does this have to do with art? And she painted me. After some chat, Se-min reminds Wook-sung that his brother might be in trouble, because Min-soo offended the kitchen crew. She was a member of the girls' section kitchen crew when she was in the facility, so they occasionally interacted with the boys' section kitchen crew. From what she remembers, the boys' section kitchen crew is a very tight-knit group. If you offend one of them, they'll keep coming after you one by one to cause trouble. And there's one person who needs special attention. Kitchen crew boss Jang Dubo. At this moment, Min-soo, who's gone up for food, happens to encounter him. He pours side dishes onto Min-soo's plate, saying, give him a little more, but soon the liquid from the side dishes fills the entire tray. Min-soo says with dissatisfaction, this is a bit too much, but Jang Dubo responds, that's normal. After all, you offended our kitchen crew. Now, facing kitchen crew leader Jang Dubo's provocative retaliation, Lee Min-soo chooses to play dumb. He points at himself, looking utterly confused, asking if Zhang is really sure it's him. Hearing this, an embarrassed Zhang Dubo asks if he's Lee Min-soo. Min-soo admits that's his name, but suggests it could be someone else with the same name. After all, it's a pretty common name. Realizing he might have made a mistake, Zhang Dubo turns and tells his underlings to verify before reporting back. But his lackey points at Min-soo and shouts that it's definitely him. But Min-soo has already bolted out of the cafeteria. As he runs, he congratulates himself for being clever enough to dodge a bullet. Meanwhile, a summit meeting of Country H's top leaders is taking place. 3 representatives from different political parties parties meet with President Han Man-soo. They're meant to set aside partisan conflicts and focus on providing practical advice for the public good. Kang Wook-sung's stepfather is one of these representatives. President Han Man-soo says to Councilman Kang, "It's been a long time. We were opponents during the presidential campaign, but now, for the sake of the country, you should work well as my subordinate." With that, he slaps Councilman Kang on the butt. Camera flashes from the reporters in front capture this iconic moment. Councilman Kang freezes. This guy just slapped his butt, and right in front of the entire nation. This instantly enrages Councilman Kang. His fist slams directly into Han Man-soo's face. Unfortunately, this is only after the summit, venting his frustration on a punching bag with Han Man-soo's photo on it. After venting, he angrily says to the person behind him, "Your father is suffering this humiliation. What do you think about it?" That person is Kang Wook-sung. Wook-sung says bringing down President Han Man-soo is easier than he imagined. All we need to do is destroy his political foundation, the Youth Rehabilitation Center, also known as the Reformation Correctional Facility. Councilman Kang says, "Isn't that exactly why I sent you there? How far have you gotten?" Wook-sung says, "Based on all the terrible things I've witnessed at the facility during this time, it's clear that place is nothing like the institution the president convinced the public to support. They force kids to use violence on each other. All forms of abuse run rampant. They deliberately ignore fights between kids for their own entertainment. The truth is, that place isn't meant to reform troubled youth at all. It's a living hell built under that pretense." Hearing this, Councilman Kang claps happily. So this correctional facility is Han Man-soo's weakness. Wook-sung confirms, "That's right. Just leaking what I've described to the media would be enough to bring down Han Man-soo, but his stepfather says he's being too hasty. This alone isn't nearly enough. These youths are criminals after all. Don't victims want them to suffer a bit? Besides, Han Man-soo could simply promise to improve human rights issues in the future and resolve this exposure. So you need to dig up something much more explosive." Today, the correctional facility has arranged crab punishment for this group of juvenile criminals. Everyone must contort their bodies like crabs, heads toward their butts. This is one of the superintendent's pleasures for the day. Min-soo folds his body, trembling all over, cursing internally. Damn it, when will this end? He's almost at his limit. Suddenly, a guard walks up beside him. His nerves immediately tense up as he shouts, "Crab, crab!" But when he sees who the guard is, he feels a wave of relief, because this guard is Wook-sung. After walking up to him, Wook-sung shouts for him to come out for individual training. Hearing this, Min-soo is overjoyed, thinking Wook-sung is giving him special treatment. But what awaits him is a different kind of crab position training, supporting himself on his stomach with all limbs raised upward. Wook-sung apologetically explains that if he goes easy on him, it might cause resentment from others and suspicion from the superintendent. Hearing this, Min-soo accuses him of making things worse. Wook-sung says he brought him out for individual training to explain the second phase of the plan. This youth rehabilitation center uses a reward and punishment point system. Completing specific tasks they set earns you reward points, while violating rules gets points deducted. Accumulate 100 reward points, and you qualify for parole review. Conversely, the more points you lose, the further your review date gets pushed back. Your current score is -50, 2 solitary confinements, and 1 mass brawl. You've never earned even a single reward point. Min-soo asks how he can earn points. Hearing this, Wook-sung pulls out an application form. Right now, the fastest way for you to earn lots of points is to voluntarily apply to become a kitchen crew helper, but Min-soo knows he's already provoked a kitchen crew leader. Going to become their helper now would be like walking into a lion's den. So he rolls around on the ground, saying he'd rather stay here forever than go to the kitchen crew. Those people will kill me. Hearing this, Wook-sung sighs. Alright, I'll find another way besides joining the kitchen crew. An afternoon of intense training leaves Min-soo completely exhausted. But just as he's about to fall asleep, he's disturbed by buzzing sounds around him. He slaps the table hard, demanding whether that person really needs to make such annoying mouth noises. The source of the sound is the 3 senior inmates on cleaning duty. White hair has also escaped his Bobby status after Min-soo became the room boss. A senior inmate explains that making sounds helps him work more efficiently, and tells Min-soo to just sit. Cleaning will be done soon. Min-soo rests his chin on his hand, thinking this way of earning points still won't work. After all, cleaning one classroom only earns 1 point. Getting to 100 would take forever and a day. Just then, 2 guards suddenly open the classroom door, asking if he's done cleaning. Min-soo answers that it'll be done soon. Hearing this, the guard tells him to go alone to the next location because someone has applied for additional volunteer work on his behalf. Hearing this, Min-soo thinks Wook-sung has found another method for him. He happily salutes the guard, but when he arrives at the location, he can't feel happy at all because he's been assigned to the kitchen crew unit. At this moment, Min-soo feels utterly bitter inside. Didn't they agree not to assign him to the kitchen crew? Zhang Dubo once dreamed of becoming Country H's top chef. His right hand, through training, can not only skillfully wield a 3-kilogram cast iron pan, but also effortlessly toss 2 kilograms of ingredients. His left hand is specifically for delicate operations. Criticizing his cooking is equivalent to insulting Zhang Dubo himself. A group of juvenile delinquents coming to the cafeteria merely complain that the food tastes bad and receive his fierce glare. But Jang Dubo knows he must hold back. After all, there's nothing he can do, because here, there's no one whose cooking skills match his own. Either they're setting pans on fire and screaming, or holding a pot of charred liquid, claiming they'll turn it into oil. Then there are pots and pots of culinary disasters. Watching these ingredients being wasted, he can only tearfully tell them to stop. Although he wants nothing more than to tear these people apart right now, they're ultimately his team members. So all Jang Dubo can do is tolerate them absolutely. But today, Lee Min-soo is different. He offended his team. So if Min-soo's cooking skills are as terrible as everyone else's, he'll have reason to settle both old and new scores under the guise of culinary education. With this thought, he doesn't hesitate to grab an iron pot and charge at Min-soo. However, Min-soo simply cooks 2 casual home-style dishes at the prison, and the kitchen crew leader who wanted to kill him just a second ago is left completely stunned. So Jang Dubo doesn't choose to strike. Instead, he happily lifts Min-soo up. Crying, he says, "I've finally found you. I knew this day would come." From this point on, Min-soo not only becomes the room boss, but also kitchen crew leader Jang Dubo's treasure. Meanwhile, the kitchen crew members feasting in the storage room are troubled by this. Someone suggests provoking a fight between Jang Dubo and Lee Min-soo, but given Jang Dubo's current attitude, that's basically impossible. The only solution they can think of now is to add garbage to Min-soo's food, make it taste terrible, and thus change Jang Dubo's attitude toward him. After some discussion, everyone's faces light up as they prepare to act. But at this moment, the sound of the door opening makes their pupils constrict instantly. The newcomer is guard Kang Wook-sung. With interest, he says, "I've always wondered why supplies kept disappearing. So it was you rats causing trouble. Well, you rats stole things, so you'll face the consequences." But the kitchen crew members don't seem to care about his warning. They even curse at him. What's with this guard? Doesn't he know this is kitchen crew territory? But before they finish speaking, in just 2.5 seconds, all of them are on the ground. These troublemakers who wanted to cause problems for Min-soo have been dealt with. Although Wook-sung doesn't know who arranged for Min-soo to join the kitchen crew, it seems he's adapting quite well there. Meanwhile, in the superintendent's office, 2 guards come to report. The superintendent asks happily, "So, did they fight?" But hearing they didn't fight, the superintendent's face immediately falls, because arranging Min-soo to enter the kitchen crew and having the crew members sabotage him were all his schemes. They know the superintendent's volatile temper, so they've prepared an omelet rice with care to appease him. On the other side, Jang Dubo gathers all the kitchen crew members. He asks loudly, "Are you ready to welcome the special day that only comes once a month?" With that, he takes out a bar of soap and grates it into shreds, placing them in a pot. He adds olive oil, more than twice the amount of soap shreds, to the pot, and heats it using a double boiler. Next, while sprinkling in some finely ground roller powder, he squeezes in some orange juice to supplement vitamin E. Finally, he stirs vigorously with his powerful arms to finish. A pot of thick, moisturizing, and delicious-looking liquid is complete. Jang Dubo tells him this isn't food, it's their kitchen crew's natural hair wax. To welcome this special monthly day, we always do this. But Min-soo still doesn't understand what special day requires fixing their hair. Jang Dubo says, "Because today is the day new supplies arrive. Today, we get to see the girls from the women's correctional facility. Every month, the cafeteria receives supply shipments, and we have to share these supplies with the women's correctional facility's kitchen crew. This is the only benefit of being in the kitchen crew. On this day, we style our hair to look mature, and we use our strong shoulders to carry cargo and show off." But Min-soo receives completely different treatment. A group of girls surrounds him, not only praising how cute and petite he is, but also proactively asking if he needs help. Seeing this from afar, Jang Dubo is incredibly envious, thinking this guy is slacking off and even flirting with the girls. But just then, a petite girl pokes Jang Dubo on the back. She pulls out a letter and hands it to him, reminding him to take it quickly before her leader sees. Taking the envelope, Jang Dubo's face instantly flushes red. He reaches Cloud 9, watching her make a shushing gesture as she leaves. In his mind, he's already walking down the aisle with her. He's even thought of names for 5 children. In his imagination, tears of joy stream down his face. But when he opens the envelope and reads the contents, his face instantly turns deathly pale. Because this love letter isn't for him. It's meant to be passed to grade room boss Lee Min-soo. Meanwhile, Min-soo in the storage room is gasping for breath from exhaustion. He can't understand why those kitchen crew idiots are only busy helping the girls move things and forgot about their own share that needs moving. Just as he stands up to head to another location, Jang Dubo suddenly appears behind him, demanding if he's the grade room boss. Min-soo confirms with confusion that yes, it's him. Jang Dubo then asks if he knows what day November 22nd is. Min-soo says he doesn't really know. Jang Dubo's face veins bulge as he says, "That's my wedding anniversary 3 years from now, and you wouldn't know who Yaji is, would you?" At this moment, Min-soo is somewhat afraid, asking what happened. But Jang Dubo roars at him, "Yeji is the name of my 5th child. If you hadn't betrayed me, she would have been a girl with a ponytail, born into this beautiful world." With that, Jang Dubo raises his fist and charges at Min-soo. "You bastard who stole my wife, I'll kill you." Min-soo raises both hands, saying he didn't do anything. But Jang Dubo's fist is already coming at him. With no other choice, Min-soo can only dodge. That punch actually punches straight through an iron cart. If Min-soo hadn't dodged just now, his skull would have been cracked open. Although Min-soo still hasn't figured out the situation. Facing an enemy who wants to kill him, him, he doesn't hesitate to fight back. But Zhang Dubo catches his ankle and slams him hard onto the ground. Zhang Dubo wants to follow up with more punches, but the iron cart obstructs his movements. Min Su seizes this opportunity and charges again with his fists, but before he can get close, he takes a punch. The gap in their strength is too great. Not only are his arms long, but his power is on a completely different level. Min Su simply can't get close to him, and taking one of his punches feels like being hit by a rock. At this moment, Zhang Dubo breaks free from the cart's restraints. He continuously hammers punches at Min Su. I'm going to take So Young on a date. Go hiking on Bukhan Mountain. Soon Min Su is backed into a corner, but at the same time, he thinks of a way to deal with him. When Zhang Dubo's next punch comes crashing down, he picks up an iron pot from the ground and blocks it. I have no idea who So Young is, but your date plan is terrible. With that, he wraps both arms around Zhang Dubo's waist. Using all his strength, he tries to flip him over and force him into the corner. Then, use the same method that defeated Gu Se-hyun to turn the situation around. Good idea, but he can't budge him an inch. Instead, Zhang Dubo grabs his head with one hand and lifts him into the air. Lee Min Su, you stole my pure love and my children's future, so accept the punishment of death. At this critical moment, Min Su grabs a bag of flour. Without hesitation, he smashes it at Zhang Dubo. Meanwhile, the girls' kitchen crew are complaining that this work is too exhausting. They've never even washed dishes at home, and now they have to play the role of cooks here. A girl sorting supplies nearby notices an extra box in their inventory. This must be from the boys' correctional facility. She asks the girls if they should deliver this box over there. Before she finishes speaking, someone among the girls says, if they need it, they'll come get it themselves. Zhang Dubo looks so scary. There's no way she'd dare go. Another chimes in, that's right. I heard he once beat up someone named Chang Su and got him sent out of the facility. Just when no one wants to deliver it, a black-haired girl voluntarily picks up the box, saying she's willing to go. She even thinks Zhang Dubo is actually kind of cute. Meanwhile, on the other side, a deadly chase scene is unfolding in the storage room. Min Su uses the terrain and his smaller size to his advantage, constantly running circles around Zhang Dubo. Soon Zhang Dubo's stamina is exhausted. Gasping for breath, he calls for Min Su to come and accept his death. He'll make it gentle. But before he finishes speaking, an egg smashes into his face. Min Su scoops up a tray of eggs and keeps throwing them at him. Covered in a complete mess, Zhang Dubo is furious beyond measure. With just a tight squeeze, he crushes an intact iron kettle into a deformed shape. He also starts using other things around him to fight back. Min Su dodges while shouting that throwing things like this will kill someone. But Zhang Dubo, who's lost all reason, doesn't care anymore. He directly grabs a pot of hot oil and throws it at him. At this moment, the black-haired delivery girl happily opens the door, only to find a pot of hot oil splashing toward her. Seeing this, Zhang Dubo freezes instantly. But at this moment, Min Su suddenly rushes forward and embraces her, using his own body to shield the black-haired girl from everything. After this, Kang Wook-sung, having received the news, rushes to the infirmary without delay. After confirming Min Su's bed with a medical staff, he yanks open the curtain at the head of the bed, but the scene before him shocks him to his core, because Min Su lying on the bed has become a skeleton. Of course, this is just a prank Min Su is playing on him. At this moment, Wook-sung's face is dark, appearing angry to the extreme. Seeing Wook-sung like this, Min Su quickly plays the victim, saying fortunately it wasn't hot oil or he might have really become a skeleton. But Wook-sung pulls him into an embrace. Stroking his head, he says, as long as you're okay. After some chatting, Min Su's idea of returning to the kitchen crew is rejected. Wook-sung scolds him. After all this happened, you still want to go back to kitchen duty? Min Su says, isn't this the fastest way to earn points that you mentioned? And I believe you'll teach me how to defeat Zhang Dubo. Once I defeat him, everything will be solved. Wook-sung helplessly scratches his hair and can only agree. After this, Wook-sung uses his guard status to apply to the superintendent for a unique punishment method for juvenile delinquents, thereby achieving the purpose of training Min Su. Because Zhang Dubo is in a completely different weight class, to defeat him, he must start with strength training, starting with pushing stones with both feet while bent over, then pushing triangular iron cones. And finally, if he can move this massive square stone block even slightly, only then will he have hope of defeating Zhang Dubo. At this time, Gu Se-hyun, who's been locked in the solitary confinement room for a week, still can't figure out why he lost to Lee Min Su. That guy couldn't even land a single punch on him. In the end, he attributes it to his own carelessness. If they fought again, he definitely wouldn't lose. Right now, the more important issue is how to solve the toilet paper problem. The toilet paper is used up, the water's been cut off, and he's already used half of his shirt sleeves. But with no other option, he can only tear off another sleeve to use as toilet paper. He looks at the fabric strip in his hand, thinking if he uses this now, what will he use next time? Just then, a roll of toilet paper is tossed in. Don't just use random things to wipe. Use toilet paper to clean up properly. Wook-sung tells him to hurry up because he's coming in, but when he opens the door, he finds no one inside. At this moment, Se-hyun suddenly appears behind him, asking how he knows his sister. With that, he throws a punch at Wook-sung. Unfortunately, Wook-sung catches it in one motion. Using professional restraint techniques, he instantly subdues him on the ground. Se-hyun knows he's strong, but didn't expect him to be this ridiculously strong. While he's thinking, Wook-sung has already raised his fist. Se-hyun closes his eyes, preparing to take a beating. But to his surprise, Wook-sung doesn't hit him. Instead, with a smile on his face, he pulls out his phone and dials Gu Se-min's number. Since you're so curious, why don't you just ask your sister? Having his sister's call connected, Se-hyun still can't believe it. He cautiously asks who this is, was how they have Se-min's phone, or if Se-min got out of the correctional facility. Se-min doesn't answer directly. Instead, she tells Wook-sung to cover his ears first. She has some things to say to her brother. After Wook-sung covers his ears, Se-min on the other end instantly goes into God mode. She unleashes a torrent of furious scolding at Se-hyun, although she's already torn Se-hyun's heart to shreds with her words. The voice on the other end keeps coming. Finally unable to take it anymore, Se-hyun tremblingly hangs up the phone. Hearing no sound for a while, Wook-sung lowers his hands and asks Se-hyun how he ended up in such a terrible state. Se-hyun looks utterly defeated. Nothing. I'm just tired. Then he asks, you must be working with Se-min, right? You're Min-soo's brother. You're the one who taught Min-soo to fight, aren't you? Wook-sung confirms, that's right. Is there a problem? Hearing the affirmative answer, Se-hyun's face fills with expectation. He says he'll listen to him and asks Wook-sung to teach him how to fight too. A month later, the kitchen crew members are frustrated in the storage room. Ever since Jang Do-bo fought with Lee Min-soo, he's been like a zombie. This has led to the kitchen crew constantly being punished for burnt food. If this continues, they'll be kicked out of the kitchen crew before long. But just then, Lee Min-soo suddenly kicks the door open and walks in. Seeing him, the veins on Jang Do-bo's forehead instantly bulge. In just that moment, he snaps out of his depressed state. Lee Min-soo, it's all your fault. I'm going to kill you. But as he approaches, his steps stop, because Min-soo asks if he wants to know why girls don't like him. Jang Do-bo, wanting to understand, asks why. But Min-soo says provocatively, it's because you're ugly as hell. The moment these words fall, Jang Do-bo, who had just calmed down, is instantly ignited. The kitchen crew members watching this terrifying scene are stunned. They all question if Min-soo has gone crazy, daring to provoke Jang Do-bo like this. We're really going to see a corpse today. Facing the enraged Jang Do-bo, Min-soo continues verbally provoking him. Like last time, he runs circles around him, depleting his stamina. Soon the brainless Jang Do-bo has most of his strength depleted. Knowing this won't work, he directly steps onto the table. He leaps and swings his fist at Min-soo, but once again, Min-soo nimbly dodges, and lets his fist punch through an iron post again, thus trapping Jang Do-bo's explosive right fist in the iron post. At the same time, he deliberately lets himself take a punch from his left hand. The purpose is to make Jang Do-bo lower his guard, thinking he's still that pushover he can bully. Then Min-soo seizes the opportunity and grips Jang Do-bo's left arm tightly with both hands. I act with thought, you idiot, you've fallen into my trap. With that, Min-soo suddenly exerts force with his legs. Using just one arm, he pushes Jang Do-bo's left arm joint up to his head. You brainless fool, prepare to accept your punishment. Meanwhile, the superintendent sits in the cafeteria waiting for his meal. Wook-sung, dressed as a server, carries a tray. Superintendent, as today is a special day, I'm responsible for cooking for you. This is a steamed dish made with Alaskan cod. Seeing this, the superintendent is ecstatic. He never expected to eat such a rare dish here. Next, Wook-sung also prepares a special beverage for him. The superintendent merely tastes it, as if he's drinking a fine wine. Of course, the most exciting part is this special battle before him. At this moment, with his left hand restrained, Jang Do-bo arrogantly says, you're finally not running away. But when his right hand breaks free from the iron post restraints and prepares to attack, he discovers that not only is his left arm restrained, but his right hand also can't be used. The main reason is that his physique and build are simply too massive. Min-soo doesn't waste words. He hammers punches into his face one after another. Taking the beating, Jang Do-bo asks in confusion where he learned these grappling techniques. But do you think you can defeat me with just this? Jang Do-bo tries to use brute force to knock Min-soo away, but Min-soo's special stance prevents him from pushing him an inch. Instead, he continues getting punched in the face. A month ago, Wook-sung had already helped him analyze the strategy and techniques for defeating Jang Do-bo. In the previous fight, Min-soo and Se-hyun's weight classes only differed by one level. That's why Min-soo could win by forcing him into a corner. But his current opponent, Jang Do-bo, is a full 3 weight classes above him. Using the same method to defeat him is clearly impossible. Instead, he'd have to pray not to be cornered himself, and gaining weight in a short time is also unrealistic. For example, if these massive stones represent Jang Do-bo, how do you move or topple him? The answer lies in the lever principle. In fact, human limb movement is also based on the lever principle. If Min-soo can become the lever that moves this stone, then he can also push Jang Do-bo. At this moment, rage burns in Jang Do-bo's heart. No matter how much force he exerts, this bastard in front of him doesn't budge an inch, making him take a one-sided beating the whole time. Watching from the window, Wook-sung asks the superintendent if this show is exciting. The superintendent says it's somewhat interesting, but the direction of this play is too predictable. Looking at Jang Do-bo's expression, he doesn't look hurt at all. Those skinny little hands can't possibly beat such a big guy, and Min-soo already looks tired. In the end, the weight class difference can't be ignored. Wook-sung says, how about we make a bet? I bet the kid named Lee Min-soo will win. Hearing this, the superintendent's interest is immediately piqued. A bet sounds good. You really do like making these uncertain wagers, but Wook-sung understands that saying facial attacks are useless just because of weight difference is simply absurd. Speaking from the basic boxing stance perspective, it's designed specifically to protect the face and head, because the most vulnerable parts of the human body are the face and head, where many vital points are concentrated. And the most critical among them is the jaw. Attacking the jaw shakes the brain and inner ear, causing the opponent to temporarily lose balance. In amateur fighting, weight class is important, but ultimately, professional technique is the key to victory. At this moment, district. The dazed Zhang Dubo seems to see So Young waving goodbye to him as Min Su delivers his final strike to the face. His dream wife So Young and 5 children all vanish. The kitchen crew members watching Zhang Dubo fall are completely incredulous. The superintendent also shouts in amazement, "How did you know that little brat would win?" Wook Sung calmly says, "Just intuition." Hearing this, the superintendent leaves somewhat displeased. "Your intuition is quite interesting, but you'd better start thinking now about what you want as your prize for the bet." At this moment, Min Su, having defeated his opponent, gasps heavily, thinking it's finally over. But then he notices the love letter that fell from Zhang Dubo's pocket on the ground. Opening it, he discovers it's for the grade A room boss, meaning this love letter isn't for Lee Min Su, but for Gu Se-hyun. According to the kitchen crew members, Zhang Dubo thought the love letter was for him, Lee Min Su, which is why he wanted to kill him so badly. Learning this, Min Su can't even complain. So all the suffering he endured during this time to defeat him, it was all because Zhang Dubo got the wrong recipient? Thinking of this, Min Su wants to throw a few more punches, but the kitchen crew members hold him back tightly, telling him to calm down. Meanwhile, in a special restricted area, several special inmates are playing poker. They complain that the selection of the next candidate has run into trouble again. First Gu Se-hyun, then Zhang Dubo. Is this guy called Lee Min Su really that strong? Zhang Dubo is the strongest in the entire Gangyo district. Now that 2 candidates are gone, we can only use the backup plan. One is the famous Black Clothes Gang leader from Daeyeondong district, construction supervisor Lee Kang-min. The other is maintenance team member Ha Sung-chul. But as soon as this list comes out, someone questions it. I can understand Lee Kang-min being on the list, but why is Ha Sung-chul a candidate? He's not even a leader at this point. Seeing that the yellow-haired Jisoo hasn't said anything, someone asks why he doesn't choose one. Jisoo says he wasn't planning to get involved this time, but hearing them talk, he's actually interested now. Then, I nominate Lee Min Su as a candidate, and this yellow-haired guy is none other than Lim Jisoo, currently the #1 person at Gangyo Reformation Center. After defeating Zhang Dubo, Min Su temporarily becomes the acting kitchen crew leader. During this process, he finally understands Zhang Dubo's suffering. These guys are basically kitchen destroyers. Either they make the rice explode, create absurd food combinations, or worse, put an electric kettle on the stove and blast it with high heat. All Min Su can do is desperately shout at them to stop. Soon it's supply delivery day at the prison again. The black-haired girl Se-ra, whom Min Su saved before, approaches him. She says shyly, "Thank you for saving me last time." Min Su scratches his head embarrassedly, saying that oil wasn't even hot. It's no big deal. But at this moment, Se-ra, her face flushed red, hands him a love letter. Having been burned before, Min Su asks if this might be for Gu Se-hyun. Hearing this, Se-ra runs away embarrassed but turns back to scold him. "It's for you, idiot!" After Min Su checks and confirms the recipient is indeed him, having never had a girlfriend in his life, his face instantly flushes red. In his mind, he seems to already see images of a happy family of 4. At this moment, Min Su's face is as red as a ripe apple. Actually, this black-haired girl didn't become interested in Min Su just because he shielded her from the oil. She'd noticed Min Su much earlier. That day, she was taking a walk after eating. It was the day Min Su fought Gu Se-hyun. Min Su's courage and sense of responsibility in standing up for the weak, and his crazy eyes like a honey badger, deeply attracted her. From that day on, she'd been worried about Min Su's situation, and today, with her friends' help getting dressed up and their encouragement, she finally mustered the courage to confess to him. So she hopes that the next time they meet, Min Su will give her an answer. After returning to his room, Min Su stares at the love letter with a silly grin for quite a while. Learning the news, the senior inmates are indignant, cursing him as a traitor. "We've been here longer than you and still don't have girlfriends. Are you this happy just because you got a letter?" Min Su says receiving a love letter does make him happy. Before this, he'd only received letters from his mom, or that love letter meant for Se-hyun. He even invites the senior inmates to look at it together. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kang Wook-sung arrives at the warden's office. Sergeant Kang reporting, "I heard you were looking for me, warden." The warden says he's been transferred here for about 3 months. "I heard you passed the early admission to Country H Army Officer Academy at an extremely fast pace, and you passed the sergeant exam with top scores in your class. For someone as talented as you to come to our correctional facility, I admire my own luck." Wook-sung shows his loyalty, saying he will work even harder for the warden and the country. He understands that only by gaining the warden's trust can he find a way to increase Min Su's points. But at this moment, the warden asks, "Do you know I've seen some interesting things in the surveillance footage recently? You and Lee Min Su seem to be getting a bit too close. What exactly is your relationship? If Wook-sung wants to get Min Su out of the correctional facility, he must hide the fact that they're brothers. Moreover, he was adopted. No one knows they're brothers." Hearing the warden's questioning, he can't help but suspect if he's noticed something. But no matter what, he can't let him find out. He must come up with an excuse. But at this moment, the warden says, "You two have a student-teacher relationship, don't you? I saw you teaching Lee Min Su how to fight. No wonder you made that bet with me. You knew your student would win. Seems like you're not just academically gifted, but also skilled at fighting." Hearing this, Wook-sung breathes a sigh of relief and explains that Min Su wanted to get stronger and begged him repeatedly, so he agreed to teach him. The warden warns him not to get too close to the trash. Wook-sung says he understands, then leaves under the pretext of preparing for outdoor activities. After he leaves, the warden makes a phone call. He feels feels things aren't that simple, so he plans to investigate Wook-sung's background. In the solitary confinement room, Se-hyun finally breathes a sigh of relief. From the angry shouting on the phone that day, he figures his sister must have gotten out of the correctional facility. Meanwhile, Do-bo, also in solitary confinement, curls up his body, trembling and crying. He's still bitter about the love letter incident, thinking it's all so unfair, and blaming Min-soo for everything. At this moment, Wook-sung opens his cell door and explains that what happened to him wasn't Min-soo's fault. Do-bo cries, saying, "What do you know? Min-soo stole my wife and kids. My life is completely ruined." But the greater room leader mentioned in that letter wasn't Min-soo, it was Se-hyun. Hearing this, Do-bo immediately changes his attitude, shouting, "Min-soo, I'm sorry. I blamed you wrongly. Se-hyun, you bastard, you're dead." Wook-sung tells him to calm down and pulls out a photo on his phone, saying it's too early to jump to conclusions. After seeing the photo, Do-bo says with resentment, "Isn't this the kitchen goddess Guse-min? But why is she standing and posing with that bastard Se-hyun?" He makes up his mind again. He must kill that bastard Se-hyun for trying to steal even his goddess. But when Wook-sung tells him they're siblings, his eyes go blank instantly. So that means Se-hyun is my brother-in-law? As soon as he finishes speaking, Se-hyun, who heard the commotion from the opposite room, roars at him, "Shut up, you pig! Who's your brother-in-law?" The two then argue fiercely from their opposite rooms, one side telling Se-hyun to think about his nephew and niece, the other side blasting back intensely. Seeing this, Wook-sung finally relaxes. The situation is mostly handled. Now Min-soo just needs to keep collecting points. Besides that, there's something else he needs to investigate. That is to uncover the dark secrets the warden is hiding in this correctional facility. And this special detention block is currently his lead. Even as a guard, he can't enter this restricted area. Wook-sung suspects something must be hidden here. Sure enough, before he can think much longer, several guards carry out a young inmate. And he also notices a man inside wearing a red prison uniform. Meanwhile, Min-soo is washing up in the bathroom. He looks at the bar of soap in his hand, puzzled. This thing is even smaller than before. How is he supposed to wash with this? But at this moment, someone behind him hands him a bottle of shampoo. Min-soo takes it, confused. How can there be something like this in prison? So he asks Lim Ji-soo, who's washing up nearby, how he has something like shampoo. Moreover, not only is his prison uniform red, but there's no grade marking on his chest either. Ji-soo introduces himself while immediately saying Min-soo's name. Min-soo asks, a bit puzzled, "How do you know me?" But at this moment, Ji-soo suddenly leans forward. Min-soo thinks he's about to attack. The next second, Ji-soo just pats Min-soo's head. "Smaller than I imagined. How did you win 2 fights?" Min-soo says, "For the sake of you lending me shampoo, I'll let this slide." But next, the blonde Ji-soo says something baffling. "This time I came to find you, but next time it'll be you coming to find me. Though it won't be easy, I'll be waiting." After saying this, Ji-soo casually leaves, leaving Min-soo with a completely confused expression. Meanwhile, the two in the solitary confinement rooms stop arguing. There's no way you could lose to Min-soo. "Why did you let him win?" Do-bo asks back why he lost to Min-soo then. Se-hyun explains he was careless, and that kid came completely prepared with a strategy. Do-bo says the same happened to him. He planned to toy with Min-soo a bit, but then realized he'd fallen completely into his trap. Se-hyun says after these 2 fights they must have noticed Min-soo, right? Do-bo confirms they've taken notice. They even had the kitchen crew try to turn him against Min-soo. They might be planning to nominate Min-soo as a candidate, but Se-hyun's response shocks him. "Don't make me laugh. I'll prove I'm the candidate. Reach the top and pay them back 100-fold for humiliating me." 15 days later, Min-soo has become close with the kitchen crew members, but just as he's about to eat his noodles, the kitchen crew members in front of him stare behind him with shocked expressions. Min-soo wonders why they aren't eating. Little does he know Do-bo has appeared behind him. Do-bo raises both hands high, as if about to launch a sneak attack. But the next second, Do-bo kneels down before him. "I'm sorry, Min-soo. I mistook you for someone else and tormented you. Plus, Se-hyun became my brother-in-law, so I can't get revenge for you anymore." Hearing this, Min-soo extends his hand. "Get up. I accept your apology. Let's eat ramen together." Do-bo is instantly moved to tears by his gesture. The kitchen crew members nearby all shout, "It's in the past now!" And Min-soo has already received another confession letter from another girl. At these words, Do-bo's expression instantly turns fierce. "Min-soo, you bastard! You're after my number 2 wife now!" Then, the food storage room becomes a scene of desperate chase again, though this time it's just playful roughhousing. Min-soo smiles broadly, thinking tomorrow is the day he'll reply to Se-ra's love letter. But when the next day comes, he can't be happy, because he's been assigned to do volunteer work. Min-soo rolls on the ground, saying he doesn't want to do volunteer work. He wants to see Se-ra and give her the letter. The senior inmates comfort him, saying this is the only way to earn lots of points. At this moment, another group of young inmates arrives for volunteer work. They mock, "Want to be my underlings? I can get you jobs at a fried chicken place or something." All the room members respond collectively. "What nonsense are you talking?" One of them, a fat guy, sees Min-soo daring to disrespect his boss. He immediately steps forward. grabbing Min-soo's collar. You sure you're the one who beat Sehyun and Dubo? That scrawny body of yours looks pathetic to me. Just as conflict is about to break out, a guard arrives in time to stop them. Seeing the guard arrive, both groups neatly line up in 2 rows, standing at attention. The shifty-eyed leader of the other group reports to the guard first, saying they were quiet, and it was Min-soo's group who started trouble. The bald senior inmate Wang Hyuk is about to refute. The next second, the guard's fist smashes into his face. You bastard, I've been annoyed with you. With that face, you're obviously the troublemaker. Witnessing this, Min-soo was confused. He doesn't understand why this guard would suddenly hit someone from his side, but seeing the smiles on the other group of young inmates, he realizes this guard is on their side. Hyuk, being beaten, keeps begging for mercy. At this moment, Wook-sung arrives in time to stop the guard. Let's stop now. We need to leave soon. Seeing it's his colleague, the guard explains with a smile, the kids almost fought, so I got carried away for a moment. After saying this, he leads the other group of young inmates onto the bus. Wook-sung asks Hyuk if he's okay and can still go do volunteer work. Hyuk says he's fine. Then Wook-sung looks at Min-soo's back and questions, you weren't thinking of attacking the guard just now, were you? Min-soo turns back with a smile, saying, how could you think that, Hyung? After getting on the bus, Min-soo asks the white-haired Moon Hyun-jun if he smells something strange. He looks back and sees someone from the back row has stuck their stinky feet forward. Min-soo warns them to pull their feet back immediately, but their leader says, if you have a problem, fight my guys. Even Sehyun wouldn't be a match for them. But just as he finishes speaking, Sehyun happens to board the bus. The man just stands there silently and glances over. This makes the prison boss, who was talking big just a second ago, go pale with fear instantly. His underlings are so scared they quickly put their stinky feet down. Min-soo didn't expect today would be the day Sehyun gets out of solitary confinement. He curses inwardly. Damn, this volunteer work is going to get too lively. After all, none of the volunteers on this bus are easy to deal with. Soon the bus arrives at the nursing home. The director and all the staff welcome them at the entrance. Wook-sung politely steps forward to shake hands with the director. We hope this volunteer activity will bring positive change to the kids from the correctional facility. Another guard also says he'll take photos to document the kids helping the elderly. The aunties treat these young inmates who came from far away with drinks. They take just one sip and exclaim repeatedly, haven't had cola in so long. This is the taste of childhood, and the volunteer work they're here to do today is to take care of the elderly at the nursing home. There isn't a single young person here, making them complain constantly. But at this moment, a senior inmate suddenly points ahead and shouts, isn't there a young woman over there? Se-min looks in the direction he's pointing, but discovers this woman is his sister, Se-min. This shocks Sehyun so much he crushes the cola cup he was about to drink from. What the hell? Why is his sister here? The first task these teenagers are assigned is to wash the elderly's feet. A guard nearby uses a camera to specifically record this moment. Min-soo, having just finished washing an elderly person's feet, holds his forehead and breathes a sigh of relief. But immediately, he hears the next person calling for him to help wash their feet. Thinking it's an old man, Min-soo naturally doesn't refuse, even saying this grandpa must have suffered a lot. His feet have many blistered areas. Just as Min-soo looks up to ask if he feels more refreshed, he discovers the person before him isn't some old man, but Lee Cho, the boss of Grade B room. He presses his wet foot against Min-soo's face, telling him to wipe it clean. He even mocks Min-soo, asking if he wants to be a foot wiper under him. Facing this humiliation, Min-soo instantly flies into rage, but is held tightly by the white-haired Hyun-jun. He reminds him to calm down. The guard over there is taking photos. Cho continues mocking with his underlings. That idiot is definitely a hothead. Looks like Sehyun and Dubo aren't that impressive after all. Min-soo grits his teeth and can only endure this humiliation, because he knows the guard is on Cho's side. Acting now would only get him mocked worse. At this time, Se-min is pushing an elderly woman outside for a walk. Grandma, the flowers over there are beautiful. Let's rest here for a bit. And the reason for stopping here is probably that Sehyun has also come looking for her, pushing an elderly person. He asks Sehyun, everyone else is busy volunteering. Are you slacking off? But Sehyun says he really does want to deal with these elderly people. After all, she was sent to the correctional facility for beating up that perverted old man. Se-min says somewhat calmly, yeah, I think we both made mistakes. We should have directly reported him for sexual harassment. Instead, we ended up in a correctional facility for getting involved, and it's that old man who had the problem. Not all elderly people are like that. After saying this, she leans back on the bench. One day we'll all grow old. What do you think we'll become? Sehyun asks what she's trying to say. At this moment, Se-min pushes the elderly woman away. If you grow old, what kind of person will you become? Think about that question carefully. Soon it's lunchtime. Each young inmate receives a meal to help the elderly eat. Min-soo is feeding an elderly woman, but he hears crying sounds nearby. Looking over, he sees Cho not only eating greedily himself, but also using food to tease the elderly woman. Min-soo angrily shouts, asking what he's doing. But just as he finishes speaking, a bowl of soup pours onto his head. Several of Cho's underlings say arrogantly, sorry, we didn't spill it on purpose. Though Min-soo wants to step forward and beat them up, he's held back tightly by Hyun-jun and Hyuk. Seeing the situation going wrong, the guard immediately says, Min-soo, you trying to cause trouble again? Min-soo explains, they dumped the tray on my head, but ultimately the guard is on Cho's side and naturally won't judge right from wrong. They all explained it was an accident. Hearing this, Min-soo can only bury his unwilling anger in his heart. Meanwhile, Cho's underlings are all smiling gleefully. We were scared scared of the grade A people before, but it seems they're not as impressive as we imagined, Cho says with a smile. I don't care what grade they're from. In my view, only money is the true way to power. In the correctional facility, grades aren't based on fighting ability but on crime severity. Though that said, the more serious the crime, usually the better they fight. We entered grade C room for fraud, so obviously we're not fighters. But we don't need to fight, like the news is reporting right now. Yuheng Group Chairman Moon Ho-jik was granted bail due to deteriorating health. With money, bodyguards, police, even the law itself will protect you. If we don't have force, we'll buy it with money. What we fraud criminals have most is money, isn't it? In Cho's view, with money, even grade A people will bow to its power and ultimately be controlled by him. The underlings all cheer, everyone agreeing with his words. Perhaps it's this encouragement that makes them increasingly reckless. They were originally assigned to help the elderly wash up, but they're smoking in the bathroom instead, completely ignoring the elderly person being scalded by hot water. At this moment, Hyuk, having finished cleaning the toilet, is preparing to go clean the bathhouse. When he opens the door, he happens to see this scene. Hyuk's expression is full of shock. He immediately drops his mop and stands in front of the old man. Cho's underlings curse at him. You scared us. Thought you were security. Hyuk says they've gone too far. What if Grandpa has a heart attack? But just as he finishes speaking, a fist smashes into his face. Hearing this, the fat guy strikes first. Who do you think you are to tell me what to do? The other two underlings laugh and cheer from the side. Getting beaten, Hyuk doesn't waste words and immediately fights back. Come on, you bastards! When Min-soo and Hyun-jun find Hyuk, he's already lying on the ground, beaten unconscious. So Min-soo goes to find Wook-sung. He hopes Wook-sung can help him create an opportunity for revenge. But Wook-sung says, we're already outside. Why still fight? If you cause trouble here, it'll be big problems. Seeing Wook-sung won't help, Min-soo turns to leave. But at this moment, a voice stops them both. Guard Jeonji suddenly appears, saying, if I heard correctly, Min-soo, did you just call Sergeant Kang Hyung? Hearing this, both of their expressions freeze instantly. Just as they're about to explain, Ji continues. I've found it strange for a while, the way Sergeant Kang treats Min-soo is like family. What's your relationship with Min-soo? Just as Wook-sung can't explain and his identity is about to be exposed, Se-hyun suddenly appears, shouting at Wook-sung, hey, I've been looking everywhere for you. Those guys are causing trouble again. Ji doesn't understand how that guy dares speak to a guard so casually. Wook-sung explains, maybe I've been too lenient with these kids, so they keep calling me that. Ji warns him, this place is turning into a gang academy. Guard Kang, I'll let it slide this time, but if I see you getting too close to this trash again, I'll report you to the superiors. After he leaves, Wook-sung's anxious heart finally settles, but at this rate, his exposure is only a matter of time. Min-soo bumps Se-hyun's chest with his fist, expressing thanks, but Se-hyun hits back, saying, don't misunderstand. I'm not helping you, mama's boy. Getting more heated, the two almost start fighting again. At this moment, Wook-sung grabs both of their necks like grabbing chickens. Stop fooling around, Min-soo says pitifully, still questioning. Hyung, are you really not going to help? Those bastards went too far. Hearing this, Wook-sung points at him and scolds, you almost got caught just now and you're still saying this? Do you really want to rot here for life? Then he assigns Se-hyun to keep an eye on Min-soo from now on, though Se-hyun wants to refuse. Hearing that refusing means double training afterward, he can only agree. Afterward, under the staff's instruction, they're assigned to try changing diapers for paralyzed elderly people. After changing several elderly people, as Min-soo prepares for the next one, he discovers the bag that was just full of diapers is now empty. Looking back, he sees Cho and his underlings have used all the diapers to armor themselves. Time to deploy the diaper squad. Let's wage war on that loser from grade A. Seeing this, Min-soo is about to fight, but Se-hyun blocks him. Don't fight. Wook-sung told you to stay quiet. Min-soo sighs. I can't ignore this kind of provocation. At this moment, Cho is still shouting childishly, we're not playing around. We even caught a monster to protect the world. And the monster he's talking about is Hyuk, who's bound to a chair with tape, his entire head humiliatingly covered with a diaper, only his nose exposed. Seeing this scene, Min-soo's rage reaches its peak. How dare you do this to someone who just got hurt? Se-hyun strikes Min-soo's head, telling him to calm down. But Min-soo roars at him, don't stop me, or we'll fight first. Se-hyun points in that direction. Fighting sounds good, but look who's over there. Cho is reporting to the guard, saying Min-soo and his group keep causing trouble. And sure enough, after hearing this, Guard Ji warns Min-soo's group, if you cause more trouble, you can expect disciplinary training when you get back. Not wanting to implicate Wook-sung, Min-soo can only choose to comply. In the afternoon, Cho's underlings come outside to smoke. The fat guy asks their leader Tae-ho, how long do we have to be underlings? Every time Cho talks big, I want to tear his mouth apart. We're only going along for the money. Yet he really thinks he's the boss. Tae-ho says it won't be long now. Right now, they're sticking with the grade C people just to live comfortably for a while. When the opportunity comes, they'll climb up. And his goal is that place where only the truly strong gather. The area with the red prison uniforms and many privileges. Rumor has it they're selecting the next candidate. And right now here, there happens to be one of the hot candidates, Se-hyun. The underling asks in confusion, didn't Se-hyun lose to Min-soo? Tae-ho says, that might just be a rumor. Just looking at Min-soo, he's obviously a complete weakling. His goal is to beat Se-hyun badly and prove himself to them. Min-soo has thought it through now. This is the time to endure. Even to solve his room's problems, he can't drag Wook-sung into it. Just as he's thinking about out how to avoid this problem, he's deliberately tripped by two people walking toward him. Two underlings point at him on the ground, laughing. In that moment, Minsu's anger breaks through his rational mind. "You bastards, I'm going to kill you today." But every time at moments like this, something appears to stop him. Happening to be nearby, Semin hands him a handkerchief. "Good thing you seem okay. You're as tough as Wook-sung. Not crying over something like this?" Minsu asks curiously. "You know my young?" Semin carefully wipes his face, saying, "That's a secret," but Minsu catches sight of her name tag, Gu Semin. As she's leaving, Semin says to him, "Please take care of my brother for me." After she completely leaves, Minsu ponders the names, Gu Se-hyun and Gu Semin. Combining everything from before, this woman must be Se-hyun's sister. Thinking of this, an idea for dealing with the grade C group pops into his head. So he rushes to the classroom and gives Se-hyun a chop, and says this is payback for the earlier blow to his head. "Want to settle this one-on-one?" Se-hyun lowers his head, saying, "Don't even think about it," though right now he really does want to beat up all those grade C troublemakers. Meanwhile, Se-min is waiting for Wook-sung on a rooftop somewhere. Suddenly a drink is placed on her head. "Sorry for the wait." Wook-sung asks what she needs. Se-min says thanks to him she got to see Se-hyun, so as family she should thank him. Wook-sung says she's been helping him all this time too. "I only did it because I could benefit from it." Hearing this, Se-min says he really has a talent for making people want to punch him. After some playful banter, they smile at each other. Then Wook-sung asks if she's heard of the red prison uniforms, but from Se-min's expression, she clearly doesn't know. The other guards either avoid it or refuse to talk about it. Is there no way to get some useful information? Speaking of which, Wook-sung says he needs to get back. Otherwise, who knows what trouble Minsu will cause again. Se-min tells him not to worry. She specifically asked Se-hyun to watch Minsu. Before, when others provoked him, Minsu held back. Pretty impressive. Wook-sung says Minsu takes after him, so he's definitely impressive. Even when he doesn't listen, he knows what to do and can do it well. Hearing this, Se-min also says she asked Se-hyun to watch Minsu because Se-hyun is reliable. After all, my brother is both dependable and manly. But as they each boast about their brothers, little do they know Se-hyun and Minsu are currently fighting intensely. Hearing the news, Cho's underlings all come to watch. Minsu says in confusion, "They bullied our room's people and played terrible pranks on the elderly here. Isn't Se-hyun angry about any of this?" Se-hyun says, "What does that have to do with him? Stop talking and let's fight." But at this moment, Minsu continues, "Looks like their next target is probably the volunteer Se-min. Isn't she your sister? Just thinking about how terrible their pranks might be worries me." And this is the method Minsu came up with after meeting Se-min. Seeing the two still not fighting, Cho's underlings egg them on from the side, asking if they can only talk. One underling even gets in his face to mock, "You're not scared of Minsu, are you?" Just as he finishes speaking, his head receives a fierce blow. "I think what he said isn't without reason," Cho's underlings angrily shout, asking why Se-hyun suddenly attacked their guy. "Though my sister is beautiful, I'm not worried at all. But now the more I think about it, the angrier I get. I'll make you pay for messing with our room's people." Meanwhile, Guard G is humbly lighting a cigarette for Cho in the storage room. To let Cho participate in this outdoor activity, G even forged documents to barely get him this opportunity. Cho says calmly he's satisfied and promises to prepare more benefits for him this time. "Getting the money," G says humbly. "You always give me pocket money. I should be the one thanking you." Feeling satisfied, Cho continues, saying if he takes over an area and recruits some construction crews, he'll give G more benefits. And he tells G to find a way to contact the people in the special detention block. "I'll go see them personally soon." But hearing this, G's face fills with terror, saying that's something the warden handles personally. If we get involved and something goes wrong, we're dead for sure. At this moment, an underling suddenly bursts through the door shouting, "That guy Se-hyun is beating up our people." Hearing this, G says angrily, "Didn't I already warn them not to fight?" But Cho beside him tells G not to intervene yet. "I just want to teach those bastards a lesson." Right? Park Tae-ho, led by the underling, they head to the battlefield. And this scene is all seen by Se-min hiding around the corner. On the other side, Min-soo is happily cheering. Since Wook-sung had Se-hyun watch him, he'll do the opposite. Using Se-hyun's trigger point to eliminate enemies for himself, this is what's called fighting fire with fire. The three beaten to a swollen mess realize they need to team up now. Just thinking about his sister being pranked fills Se-hyun with rage. But this time the three coordinate. The two average-built ones use their bodies to restrain Se-hyun, while the most lethal fat guy launches a frontal attack. Min-soo, watching from the side, finally chooses to intervene. "I wasn't planning to fight at all, but since you asked so sincerely," Se-hyun says he didn't say anything. But soon, without realizing it, Se-hyun is pushed to the wall. The fat guy's attack instantly arrives before him. But this time the wall trick won't work. He's not the Se-hyun from before. Seeing this scene, Min-soo can't help thinking, this bastard got stronger after training with Wook-sung. But so did he. He's no longer the weakling who could be bullied at will. Se-hyun tells him not to block his way. Min-soo tells him just not to drag him down. He even wonders aloud, "This is too easy. You almost lost to these guys?" Se-hyun says, "I didn't almost lose, you mama's boy." Min-soo retorts, "You sister-obsessed freak, how dare you talk about me?" Se-hyun angrily asks if he wants to fight. At this moment, having knocked everyone down, they start grappling. The two clearly intend to continue their rematch. But at this moment, Park Tae-ho suddenly arrives. With one kick, he sends Min-soo flying. Tae-ho questions Se-hyun, "You used to be a candidate, right? Come fight me one-on-one." Min-soo asks what he is to dare interfere. But Tae-ho, having taken that kick, acts like nothing happened, and strikes back saying, Let's see if you can take it too. Coming to his senses, Min-soo trembles as he's about to get up. Cho comes before him. Great boss Min-soo, I'll give you a final offer. Let me control your entire area. Once I get the red prison uniform, I definitely won't mistreat you. Hearing this, Min-soo thinks the red prison uniform must be that guy who lent him shampoo. But what does that actually mean? Min-soo tells him to get lost, daring to bully the elderly here in our room's people. I won't let this slide. Just as he finishes speaking, a black bag covers his head. Caught off guard, Min-soo only feels darkness before his eyes. Then Cho kicks him in the head and says, listen while I'm still talking nicely. My purpose for wanting to control grade A is to find a strong subordinate, someone as strong as Sehyun. Of course, in my view, Taeho is way more impressive than Sehyun. Though Taeho's prison grade is only D, his pure strength is at grade A level. Fighting against him, Sehyun clearly feels this. Though his opponent's attack power is about the same as his endurance is far above his own. Taeho uses his endurance to deliberately take hits, then counterattacks. If this continues, Sehyun will definitely lose. He recalls Wook-sung telling him his fighting technique and reach were better than Min-soo's, so why did he lose? Because that was his only advantage. If reach is your strength, seal it away. If your opponent has reach, power, and endurance, how will you fight? So I'll teach you a fighting style that belongs to you alone, a path to getting stronger that will completely transform you. Seeing Sehyun stand up, Taeho mocks, just stay down. You and I aren't even on the same level, Sehyun says angrily. I'll make you understand what a difference in levels really means. After saying this, he charges forward with a swift step. Taeho shouts, that's right, show me your full power, only then will defeating you have meaning. But is blocking all you're going to show me? That would be a bit too boring. Sehyun also understands he can't just keep blocking, because when Wook-sung trained him, he said, blocking constantly will only slow your movements. If your arms drop, your opponent will seize the chance to break through your defense. What you need to do is observe your opponent's movements while blocking. Don't just think about how to counterattack. At this moment, Sehyun can start catching his opponent's movements. Taeho's shoulders are raised high, which means there will be a powerful attack, and the longer he observes, the clearer everything becomes. Taeho's punching pattern and punching speed, as well as his timing for pulling back. He's grasped it all. The moment to counterattack has arrived. Taking a punch, Taeho mocks, is this all you've got? Next, the situation completely changes. Each of his attacks is easily dodged by Sehyun, and each of Sehyun's counterattacks land solidly on him. Sehyun knows that if Taeho keeps swinging like this, he'll soon be exhausted, just like when he fought Min-soo before. How foolish. Now he finally understands why he lost to Min-soo, and realizes just how terrifying Wook-sung is. Just through observation, he made him this strong. Soon Sehyun finishes off Taeho, but there's no excitement on his face. Facing this level of opponent was already so difficult. To catch up to Lim Ji-soo, he still has a long way to go. Sehyun wonders where Min-soo went. He discovers Cho is continuously punching Min-soo with the black bag on his head. Cho questions Min-soo, it's come to this and you still won't give up? It hurts, doesn't it, you bastard? But in Min-soo's view, Cho is too weak. He doesn't understand how a person's punches can be so powerless. Min-soo has experienced this situation before, but suddenly, like being hit by an inflatable cheering stick, it clicked. He's not sure if it's because of the training or because of those two previous fights. Getting cocky, Cho continues mocking, if it hurts, cry, call for your mommy, oh wait, you don't even have a mother. Just as he finishes, having hit Min-soo's sore spot, Min-soo decides to stop toying with him. You crossed the line, you bastard. With a groin kick, Min-soo makes him experience what real pain is, but at this moment, a voice asks what he's doing. Ji points at Min-soo saying, didn't I warn you not to fight? Min-soo explains it wasn't him who started it. Sehyun was being beaten, and he just helped him. But Wook-sung gives him a kick to the head saying, that's still fighting. Then Wook-sung tells Sehyun to explain what trick Min-soo pulled this time. Sehyun says seriously, we didn't start it. Those bastards wanted to mess with my sister and harass the grandpas and grandmas here. Hearing this, Wook-sung's expression changes instantly. Ji shouts, guard Kang, see that? I told you not to get close to these people. That's why they're so arrogant now. You just wait and prepare to write that disciplinary report. But at this moment, Semin suddenly arrives. Guard Jeon, I think what you should be preparing for is a trial, not a disciplinary report. Ji asks in confusion who she is. Hearing this, Semin smiles and takes out her phone with a video. The content shows his dealings with Cho in the storage room. Ji's face instantly breaks out in cold sweat. Semin says calmly, you accepted bribes and forged official documents. Just as she finishes, Ji lunges at her trying to grab the phone. But Wook-sung won't give him that chance. With just one move, he completely subdues him. Wook-sung and Se-min share a knowing smile. Good thing she broke the deadlock in time. Then Wook-sung immediately dials the command phone to report. The moment the call connects, Ji immediately explains it's not just him doing this. The guards managing the red prison uniform inmates take even more bribes. Hearing red prison uniform, Wook-sung is instantly shocked. Facing the inquiry on the phone, he covers for Ji, saying he was just reporting the return schedule. Seeing he wasn't reported, Ji hurriedly thanks him. Sergeant Kang, I won't forget this favor, Wook-sung says. This time time, I'll turn a blind eye, but on the condition that you tell me in detail about the red prison uniform inmates. Kang Wook-sung is puzzled. Isn't the purpose of the Reformation Correctional Facility supposed to be reforming juvenile offenders? Jeonji tells him there are always some people beyond redemption. If they just release them back into society, it'll cause political problems. So simply put, these red prison uniform inmates exist to prevent others from leaving easily. Kang Wook-sung doesn't understand. Wouldn't that make the point system and reform review process meaningless? Jeonji says he's still too naive. Have you ever seen anyone leave this facility properly? That's the job of those red prison uniform inmates. They cripple inmates who've accumulated enough points and are about to be released. Simply put, getting released easily is impossible. Lee Min-soo, who returned from volunteer work a week ago, is now just 50 points away from being eligible for release. The guards here remain as brutal as ever. Fights between the kids continue to break out constantly, perhaps because they were taught a lesson by Min-soo and Hyun-jun. The kids from grade C room no longer cause them trouble. The only thing Lee Min-soo is anxious about now is that he needs to respond to Se-ra's confession on the next supply day. Originally, Kang Wook-sung brought Lee Min-soo here to clean the warehouse, but unexpectedly, it's already been cleaned. And Gu Se-hyun is also here, training non-stop. Lee Min-soo is confused. Hasn't this place already been cleaned? Why bring him here? But before he can finish speaking, Kang Wook-sung puts handcuffs on him. Though Lee Min-soo is puzzled, Kang Wook-sung tells him to stand still. Then he pulls a ball out from a box filled with tennis balls and says he's thought of a way to train Lee Min-soo. From now on, Lee Min-soo's hands will be restrained. Then he just needs to dodge the balls Kang Wook-sung throws at him. Moreover, each ball thrown at Lee Min-soo will be faster than the last. Lee Min-soo manages to dodge the first one by luck, but the speed of the second ball hits him like a wake-up call. This is what Lee Min-soo currently lacks: instinctive reactions to variables and danger. Lee Min-soo is confused about what Kang Wook-sung means by instinct. He defeated Gu Se-hyun and Jang Do-bo. Doesn't that mean he doesn't need training? Kang Wook-sung questions him. Did you win those fights fair and square? The fighting styles of all three of you are too one-dimensional. Lee Min-soo just exploited their weaknesses. But if Gu Se-hyun had been prepared beforehand, he wouldn't have won at all. And if Lee Min-soo hadn't built some leg strength, how would he have defeated Jang Do-bo? Now Gu Se-hyun is learning basic combat techniques from Kang Wook-sung, so he hopes Lee Min-soo will also undergo training. Although he hates fighting, this place is simply too dangerous. Ever since Jeonji told him about the red prison uniforms, Kang Wook-sung knows he must make Lee Min-soo strong enough to ensure he can be released normally. Meanwhile, construction supervisor Lee Kang-min is discussing matters with grade C2 room boss Lee Cho. Lee Cho believes this prison is no different from outside society. With money, you can control both inmates and guards. So he wants to invite Lee Kang-min to join his assembled forces. That way, perhaps they can deal with the special detention block where the red prison uniforms exist. If Lee Kang-min agrees to join, Lee Cho will give him 20% of the business profits as compensation, roughly 4,000 in pure income per month. And even if Lee Kang-min wants to wear a red prison uniform, Lee Cho promises to handle it for him. But Lee Kang-min's response leaves Lee Cho stunned. Lee Kang-min states that no matter how good the plan is, working with the weak will only ruin his reputation. Hearing this, Lee Cho snaps his fingers. Then I'll give you more time to think it over. Besides, why do you think I asked to meet you without guards or subordinates present? As the snap echoes, grade C-2 room boss and Chol Soo, grade D3 room boss Jang Sang-hyun, grade D1 room boss Park Tae-ho, and grade C6 room boss Oh Sung-jin appear one after another. 4 different room bosses surround Lee Kang-min completely. Lee Cho asks Lee Kang-min, so what do you say? Change your mind now? Lee Kang-min removes his glasses. Not bad. Using money to recruit skilled fighters. But do you think 4 people are enough? At this moment, Lee Min-soo, facing the tennis balls thrown by Kang Wook-sung, has adapted. His movements are crisp. His dodges are precise, using only the most necessary motions. Lee Min-soo never learned anything like this before. It's safe to say this guy's talent is absolutely top tier. Seeing this training has lost its effectiveness, Kang Wook-sung decisively initiates stage 2 of the tennis ball dodge training. Unlike the previous straight line attacks, this time the thrown tennis balls will have a second ricochet. The throwing rate also increases by a level. This forces Lee Min-soo to not only face balls thrown from the front, but also watch for ricochet attacks from his blind spots. These attacks targeting blind spots are difficult even for some professional fighters to handle. So what Lee Min-soo needs to do in stage 2 training is accumulate experience dealing with multi-angle attacks and develop instinctive reactions. Lee Min-soo doesn't understand. He gets all this. But why restrain his arms? Kang Wook-sung explains that arms can be used for both offense and defense, so they should only be used when you absolutely can't dodge or block. And Gu Se-hyun, after a period of training, his progress is clearly greater than expected, but the road ahead is still long. Kang Wook-sung is only here to guide their training. What truly makes them stronger isn't him but themselves, because the training Kang Wook-sung has arranged for them this time will be hellish. Only if they endure past this threshold will their potential truly blossom. But if they can't make it through, their potential will forever remain just potential. At the same time, Kang Wook-sung is quite curious. After the hellish training ends, which of these two will become stronger? Meanwhile, guard Jeonji opens the door to Lee Kang-min and Lee Cho's secret meeting. Lee Kang-min has already dealt with all 4 room bosses. Only Lee Cho remains, begging for help from the just-arrived Jeonji. But he doesn't know that guard Jeonji and Lee Kang-min have already formed an alliance. This meeting was a scheme, devised by the the two of them. The purpose was to extort the safe combination for Lee Cho's hideout outside. Lee Kang-min's people, following the address provided by Jeonji, have already taken over Lee Cho's hideout. Inside is roughly 200 million, and according to their agreement, guard Jeonji will get 10% of it. Lee Kang-min tells him it'll be deposited today, but only if Jeonji goes and tells the special detention block people that he wants to see them. The next day, when Lee Min-soo goes to the kitchen to work, Jang Do-bo awkwardly tells him he can't work in the kitchen anymore. Guard Jeonji explains from the side that the kitchen crew is now overstaffed, so they need to cut people, and asks if Lee Min-soo would be willing to go to the construction crew, where there happens to be an opening. Lee Min-soo looks at the application form handed to him, somewhat doubtful. Is it really okay to do this without Kang Wook-sung's permission? What if it disrupts the original plan? But under Jeonji's urging, this is currently the only way to earn points. Helplessly, Lee Min-soo can only agree. Jang Do-bo watches their departing figures, silently hoping in his heart that Lee Min-soo will be careful. After all, being cut from the kitchen crew and then transferred to the construction crew is all part of someone's plan. Soon, Lee Min-soo arrives at the construction crew's worksite. Looking at these people's intimidating faces, Lee Min-soo wonders to himself, are these people really high schoolers like him? He hopes the supervisor here won't be someone like Jang Do-bo. If he's as domineering as that guy, it'll be trouble. At this moment, Supervisor Lee Kang-min walks over. He tells his subordinates to be friendly and not scare their friend who's come to help them. He also thoughtfully brings Lee Min-soo a pair of gloves. I'm the construction supervisor, Lee Kang-min. Working here with bare hands will get you hurt. Lee Kang-min instructs his subordinates that this is Lee Min-soo's first time operating machinery, so they should help him get familiar with it. He also warmly tells Lee Min-soo that if he has any problems in the future, he can tell him anytime. At this moment, Lee Min-soo feels in his heart that being transferred to the construction crew was the right choice. This supervisor is both gentle and friendly, completely different from Jang Do-bo. But little does he know, in the shadows, Lee Kang-min's eyes are staring at him like a hungry wolf. Soon, through behind-the-scenes manipulation, a red prison uniform inmate leaves the special detention block. She complains to the guard about how these kids live in a place like this. This place reeks of lonely old men. The guard warns her he's only giving her 5 minutes. Finish your business and get back. As the guard opens the door, this red prison uniform inmate walks into Lee Kang-min's room. But what no one expected is that this red prison uniform inmate is actually a girl, Park Hyo-shin. The subordinates are confused. How can there be a woman in a men's correctional facility? Though she does look a bit like a man. But at this moment, Lee Kang-min instructs them to immediately lower their heads and cover their ears. Hearing this, the subordinates all comply. Park Hyo-shin asks if they're playing at being a cute version of gangsters. Lee Kang-min states that until he gives the signal, these people won't see or hear anything. Park Hyo-shin asks if he's Lee Kang-min. Your looks suit my taste. Lee Kang-min says Park Hyo-shin isn't the person he met before. Park Hyo-shin explains that Kim Hwee-ryong has other matters to handle. What, are you disappointed? You don't like me? Lee Kang-min adjusts his glasses. Not disappointed, just someone new. Park Hyo-shin, looking at his gaze, covers her face in an exaggerated manner. Staring at me like that makes me embarrassed. Lee Kang-min calculates in his mind that she looks frail yet wears a red prison uniform. Quite unexpected. Lee Kang-min asks how she ended up in this dump. Park Hyo-shin holds up 3 fingers. The number of candidates is back to 3. Hearing this, Lee Kang-min wonders in his heart why it's still 3. He clearly confirmed that Jang Do-bo and Gu Se-hyun were both eliminated. Park Hyo-shin states the first is him, Lee Kang-min. The second is maintenance team's Ha Sung-chol, and the third is greater room boss Lee Min-soo. Lim Ji-soo suddenly participated in nominating Lee Min-soo as a candidate. Hearing this name, Lee Kang-min's eyes flash with disbelief. He says he's already proven his abilities. He really doesn't understand why he's still just a candidate. Park Hyo-shin smiles and says he hasn't proven anything. If you really look at what he's accomplished, wasn't it all thanks to his older brother Lee Kang-won? Even if a tiger stands behind a rabbit is still just a rabbit. Hearing this, Lee Kang-min freezes for a moment, not understanding how she knows about his brother. Park Hyo-shin leans to his ear. Cute little rabbit, can you prove your strength without the tiger? Hearing this, Lee Kang-min removes his glasses. If I defeat you right here and now, that'll prove my abilities, right? Lee Kang-min, falling for such simple provocation, gives Park Hyo-shin a headache. You're clearly not ready yet. As she speaks, her aura changes instantly. Do you think I look weak? This sudden, chilling feeling makes Lee Kang-min shudder. He clearly senses that this person in front of him is definitely not inferior to him. Park Hyo-shin tells him not to take it too hard. Lee Kang-min is still a very competitive candidate. That's why she wanted to meet him personally. And as long as Lee Kang-min can defeat one of the remaining candidates, Park Hyo-shin will consider that as proof. When that time comes, she and Hwee-ryong will help Lee Kang-min advance this matter. After Park Hyo-shin leaves, Lee Kang-min's tense nerves finally relax. He doesn't quite understand. Was he really that nervous just now? But what's important is, now he only needs to defeat one of the two. And Lee Min-soo, who's in his own crew, might be a good choice. But Lee Kang-min, looking at Lee Min-soo's slender frame, doesn't look like someone who could defeat Jang Do-bo and Gu Se-hyun, so he plans to test him out a bit first. At Lee Kang-min's signal with a glance, 2 subordinates instantly understand. Lee Min-soo is working cheerfully. At this moment, a hammerhead flies toward him. Lee Min-soo's instinctive reaction triggers instantly. The attacking subordinate immediately apologizes that it wasn't intentional. Then, as Lee Min-soo walks toward another area, he's tripped by a wire. Below him is a board covered with nails, just a hair's breadth away from the nails piercing his eyes. The attacker apologizes in the same tone. This makes Lee Min-soo sense something isn't quite right. Are these really accidents or intentional? If intentional, what are they after? But before he can think much more, those subordinates surround him. Under the pretense of teaching Lee Min-soo how to operate the table saw, they control his hands and push Lee Min-soo's palm toward the high-speed rotating table saw. Just as Lee Min-soo's hand is about to be ruined, someone suddenly shuts off the circuit breaker. The scene plunges into darkness. When the lights come back on, those three subordinates are all lying on the ground. Lee Min-soo innocently explains he didn't hit them, but seeing the crowd gathering around, Lee Min-soo seems to understand in his heart this is a trap aimed at him. Looking at Chul-soo and Jang Sang-hyun slowly approaching him, Lee Min-soo isn't sure whether he should fight back. If he takes the risk, he'll likely lose penalty points. After careful consideration, Lee Min-soo decides to shout loudly to attract the guards' attention. Two guards hearing the shouts indeed notice what's happening here, but the next second, they continue chatting as if nothing's wrong. This leaves Lee Min-soo very confused. It seems these guards are on their side too, and Chul-soo and Jang Sang-hyun's attacks are now upon him. Meanwhile, Gu Se-hyun is still doing extra training in the warehouse. Kang Wook-sung reminds him it's late and he should go back. If he's late for warehouse organizing, it'll make them suspicious. But Gu Se-hyun says one more round. This time he can definitely pass stage 1 training. After all, that guy Lee Min-soo has already passed stage 2 training, while he's still stuck on stage 1. He doesn't want to lose to that bastard Lee Min-soo. At this moment, Lee Min-soo, facing the attacks of the two, dodges continuously with ease. Because Lee Min-soo doesn't want to cause trouble, he has no intention of fighting back. After all, his original purpose was to earn some points here and leave quietly, so he absolutely cannot lose points. Lee Kang-min, observing from the side, seems to see through something. Is this guy afraid the guards will deduct his points, so he doesn't dare fight back? Thinking this through to probe Lee Min-soo's true strength, Lee Kang-min has the guards step outside for a moment. He'll handle this. Seeing the guards leave, Lee Min-soo no longer plans to hide his abilities. Long suppressed, he's been wanting to fight back. This is a perfect chance to put his recent training results into practice, but unexpectedly he feels these two are a bit too weak. Whether it's because Lee Min-soo is too strong or they're too weak is unclear. Soon, and Chul-soo and Jang Sang-hyun are dealt with. Lee Kang-min also resolves his doubts. So it seems you didn't beat Gu Se-hyun and Jang Do-bo by luck. Lee Min-soo asks, did he orchestrate this childish stunt? What did I do wrong to deserve this betrayal? Lee Kang-min says he and Lee Min-soo are both candidates, but Lee Min-soo has never even heard of any candidates. He just wants to earn some points here. Hearing this, Lee Kang-min removes his glasses with some resentment. Just because of a guy who doesn't even know what a candidate is, I have to prove my strength. I originally planned to let my subordinates handle this, but now I'm being compared to someone who knows nothing. It really pisses me off. So I've changed my mind. I'll deal with you personally. Lee Min-soo says, if you want to fight, just say so. Why put on this act and waste effort? With that, Lee Min-soo raises both middle fingers. Come at me, you bastard. A war between the two candidates is about to break out. A subordinate asks senior inmate Chang Hee, isn't Lee Min-soo his roommate? Only after engaging does Lee Min-soo feel how terrifying his opponent is. Lee Kang-min's punching speed is on a completely different level from those two earlier. Lee Min-soo, barely managing to dodge, already feels strained. The opponent's attacks are like a predator locked onto prey, pressing forward step by step without mercy. This gives Lee Min-soo the impression that his opponent studied boxing, but he also knows he can't keep dodging forever. He must find an opening to counterattack. But Lee Kang-min's strength exceeds his imagination. This punch is easily caught by Lee Kang-min's single palm. Looks like you never learned how to attack. Was it like this when you fought others too? Seems Gu Se-hyun and Jang Do-bo weren't that impressive either. Lee Kang-min's attacks are swift and fierce, continuously suppressing Lee Min-soo. Lee Min-soo can only keep dodging. At this moment, Lee Min-soo seizes the opportunity when his opponent's punch misses. As he tries to counter, his head takes a fierce elbow strike. In expert combat, seemingly exposed openings are actually traps laid for the opponent. After dozens of dodges, Lee Min-soo again spots an opening in his opponent's chest, but this is still a trap. Just as Lee Min-soo tries to punch back, Lee Kang-min delivers a front kick right at him. Then using the momentum, he steps on Min-soo's defensive arm into the air. A knee strike comes straight at him. At this moment, Lee Min-soo feels he's done for, but suddenly a hand blocks Lee Kang-min's knee. Kang Wook-sung appears just in time to stop the conclusion of this battle. Kang Wook-sung's eyes turn cold as he states, this fight ends here. If you continue, I'll put you both in solitary confinement. Lee Kang-min wonders when he came in, and he's definitely not from the construction crew. Kang Wook-sung questions, got a problem? And why didn't the other guards come stop this? Don't tell me they deliberately gave you space to fight. Two guards quickly explain they went for a smoke, didn't see what happened. After that, Kang Wook-sung takes Lee Min-soo and leaves the construction crew warehouse. Standing there, Lee Kang-min curses inwardly. Damn it, he was so close to finishing this. But next time, Lee Min-soo won't be so lucky. Kang Wook-sung brings Lee Min-soo to the infirmary. Lee Min-soo asks why he's not angry. I thought you'd be furious I got into a fight. Kang Wook-sung says he doesn't know the reason yet. But why did you go to the construction crew? Lee Min-soo explains they said the kitchen crew was cutting staff, and the only only place left to earn points was the construction crew. But Kang Wook-sung understands there was no such order for kitchen crew reductions. Thinking carefully, something similar happened before, when Min-soo was assigned to the kitchen crew. It seems someone has targeted Lee Min-soo. At this moment, Lee Min-soo complains somewhat frustrated. Just like the fight with Gu Se-yun, I couldn't land a single punch on him, and couldn't avoid all his attacks either. Kang Wook-sung says this is normal. That guy Lee Kang-min most likely studied martial arts like kickboxing. So unlike Gu Se-hyun and the others, this guy can't be defeated with tricks or strategy. To beat him, you can only improve your raw strength. So Kang Wook-sung plans to start stage 3 training for Lee Min-soo, and before the training ends, he'll stay with him at the construction crew, though he doesn't know who schemed against Lee Min-soo. For now, he can only focus on improving his strength while waiting for an opportunity to confront whoever's in the shadows. This accompanying behavior from Kang Wook-sung leaves Lee Kang-min unable to find an opportunity to deal with Lee Min-soo. Even though he had a guard steal Kang Wook-sung's personal file, he can't find any weakness. He calculates that just one day, if only Kang Wook-sung would leave for one day. So he takes out a phone from the drawer, dials and instructs the person on the other end to help him with something, and warns them not to tell his brother about this. 1 week later, on a certain night, Kang Wook-sung stands on the street checking the time, waiting for someone. And this person is Gu Se-min. Gu Se-min brushes back her hair and apologizes for being late. Kang Wook-sung says it's nothing. He figured as much. So he left 30 minutes late too, and their meeting on the street is being monitored. Through surveillance, Lee Kang-min's subordinates have found Kang Wook-sung's weakness. After Gu Se-min and Kang Wook-sung say goodbye and part ways, a black car follows Gu Se-min to an alley entrance. Several of Lee Kang-min's subordinates get out of the car. Thanks for walking into the alley alone. Gu Se-min, seeing this scene, asks what they're doing. Following me is one thing, but bringing so many people? The subordinate says Gu Se-min needs to come with them. Gu Se-min says no problem, but she needs to put out her cigarette first. She's trying to quit smoking. Meanwhile, in the warden's office, the warden asks Jeonji about Kang Wook-sung's recent activities. Jeonji responds that Kang Wook-sung seems overly fixated on Lee Min-soo. After he assigned Lee Min-soo to the construction crew, his expression has been off. He regularly goes to the construction crew, seemingly intentionally protecting Lee Min-soo. The warden asks if there's anything else. Hearing this, Jeonji responds that Kang Wook-sung recently asked him about the red prison uniforms. The warden says the first reason for initially transferring Lee Min-soo to the kitchen crew was to test Kang Wook-sung's reaction. That's why he sent Jeonji and Kang Wook-sung to do volunteer work together. And now, although transferring Lee Min-soo to the construction crew was partly a request from the special detention block, it ultimately comes down to Kang Wook-sung being too suspicious. He's the only one prohibited from accessing the military network. All information about him comes from received files, so the warden has already commissioned an external agency to conduct a background check on him. Results should come soon, and until then, Jeonji's job is to continue monitoring him. Jeonji asks curiously, "It's normal for us to monitor Kang Wook-sung, but why are you and the special detention block people so interested in Lee Min-soo?" Hearing this, the warden says calmly, "Because he looks like someone." At this moment, Lee Min-soo is washing up in the bathroom, unaware that an even bigger trap is quietly approaching. It's been 2 weeks since he fought Lee Kang-min. Though he's been training constantly, he's not confident he can defeat him. After all, Lee Kang-min is the type who can only be defeated with pure strength. And to do that, Lee Min-soo needs to at least pass stage 3 training. At this moment, White Hair hears someone ask him to toss the soap over, but his hand slips, accidentally throwing the soap toward the unguarded Wang Hyuk. Just as the soap is about to hit Wang Hyuk's back, Lee Min-soo, as if sensing danger, intercepts it directly. Lee Min-soo tells Moon Hyun-jun to be more careful and not drop it again, but White Hair's face is full of disbelief. He doesn't understand how Lee Min-soo did that without even looking, and Lee Min-soo's body has also become increasingly muscular. After washing up, someone asks Lee Min-soo why guard Kang didn't come today. Lee Min-soo says he asked another officer. They said he suddenly took leave and told him to go organize the storage room today. At this time, senior inmate Chang Hee approaches Lee Min-soo. He hopes they can talk alone for a bit. Lee Min-soo says, "Aren't you in the construction crew too? Looks like you were the one who shut off the circuit breaker and saved me last time." Chang Hee says he still doesn't understand how terrifying Lee Kang-min is. With that, he pulls down his pants in front of Lee Min-soo. At first, Lee Min-soo is alarmed, not understanding what he means. Only after seeing the scar on Chang Hee's thigh does he gradually understand the situation. Chang Hee says he was once Lee Kang-min's friend and subordinate. Lee Kang-min was the gang boss who ruled the Daeyeon-dong district. He used to work under him. He only defied him once and ended up like this. Chang Hee says if Lee Kang-min were just good at fighting, he wouldn't try to stop him. But Lee Kang-min is truly cruel. Anyone who defies him suffers severe retaliation. So Chang Hee hopes Lee Min-soo won't go to the construction crew anymore, because he might really end up crippled and sent out of the facility. Lee Min-soo says if guard Kang isn't there, he won't go. Under Lee Min-soo's repeated assurances, Chang Hee tentatively believes him. But though he says this, Lee Min-soo thinks to himself that if his and Kang Wook-sung's plan requires it, he might have to fight again. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-min is calling his subordinates to check the situation, instructing them to notify Kang Wook-sung immediately once they bring the person to the hideout. Then just make sure he can't make it to the facility today. The subordinates ask what to do with the girl afterward. Lee Kang-min says whatever they want. Hearing this, the subordinates are overjoyed. Looks like there's a party tonight. Tied up in the back seat, Gu Se-min's expression shows some shock. This isn't quite what she expected. From that phone call, they're subordinates of someone someone named Lee Kang-min inside the facility. The purpose of tying her up is to delay Kang Wook-sung. Actually, they spotted these people following them yesterday. Kang Wook-sung told her their target was either him or her. They might be the hidden dark side of the facility, or possibly the real culprits trying to frame Min-soo, or people connected to the red prison uniforms. He was prepared to be the bait, but what Kang Wook-sung worried about was that their target was Gu Sin-min, but Gu Sin-min gave him her motorcycle keys, saying, if she's the one being targeted, surely you'll come save me in time, right? And at this moment, a motorcycle is following closely behind the black vehicle. Meanwhile, at the facility, Lee Chang-hee confronts Lee Kang-min. He tells Lee Kang-min to stop targeting Lee Min-soo. Though he doesn't know why you've set your sights on him, he's just trying to earn points. Lee Kang-min calmly asks why he should listen to this. Chang-hee says it's because he's also a member of the construction crew, but he's no longer that subordinate from before. I'm asking you this as your childhood friend. Actually, back in elementary school, he and Lee Kang-min were best friends. But after graduating elementary school, Lee Kang-min started taking over his brother's business, while Chang-hee studied while taking care of his mother. Due to their different circumstances, they lost contact. Once Chang-hee entered high school, he got his driver's license and started working as a delivery worker. A restaurant owner, after understanding his situation, kindly lent him a motorcycle. Thanks to this, Chang-hee was able to work as a delivery worker and pay for his mother's medical expenses. One delivery address was an abandoned factory. This was the gathering place for Lee Kang-min's gang. Here, Chang-hee encountered Lee Kang-min again after many years. Lee Kang-min asked if he wanted to make money more easily by adding cockroaches to food deliveries, then leaving numerous negative reviews in the merchant's shop comments, making it impossible for the merchant to do business. To delete the bad reviews, they'd have to pay them. Naive and ignorant, Chang-hee joined them and earned his first real money in life. If this continued, he'd soon be able to pay his mother's hospital bills. But the extorted Chinese restaurant owner passed away shortly after. When Chang-hee found out, he realized the uncle they'd extorted was the Chinese restaurant owner who had helped him. At that moment, he realized the kind uncle had died because of him. He fell into deep self-blame, so he sought out Lee Kang-min, hoping they could turn themselves in together. But hearing this, Lee Kang-min grabbed him by the throat. If I had any intention of turning myself in, I wouldn't have started this. I gave you a way to make money, and you want to turn yourself in. You know I never forgive traitors. With that, Lee Kang-min stabbed a steel pen to Chang-hee's thigh. If you spout this crap again, I'll kill you. But at the same time, Lee Kang-min's brother Lee Kang-won also arrived. He was the real leader of this criminal gang. Lee Kang-won told his brother they'd been discovered. The police are coming soon. You should have kept this under wraps, but there were too many victims and even a death. Lee Kang-min suggests letting this guy on the floor take the blame, but his brother tells him this isn't something that can be solved by sacrificing one subordinate. So he has the underage Lee Kang-min share the responsibility. Afterward, Chang-hee and Lee Kang-min were sent to the Reformation Correctional Facility. Chang-hee says this is the first time they've talked face-to-face like this since then. Lee Kang-min says he came because of Lee Min-soo, but he had similar thoughts. He originally planned to meet him about Lee Min-soo anyway, since he blocked Kang Wook-sung but had no way to contact Lee Min-soo. Chang-hee asks in confusion what he means. The next second, he's pinned to the table by subordinates. You know why I took on the troublesome position of construction supervisor? Because in the construction crew, if someone gets injured or becomes an idiot, no one suspects anything. And what he's going to do is take one of Chang-hee's fingers as an invitation gift for Min-soo. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-min's subordinates have also reached the hideout.